Oh, cheers.
Cheers,
What's going on,
boys.
fellas?
Cheers.
It's always good to be here.
Yeah, welcome back for the fourth time, Mr. Crabman.
That's it.
DOG.
How you feeling?
I feel good.
What are you weighing now?
You fucking look good.
You look great.
So it's been a while since I've drank, so I'm feeling a little tipsy.
Oh, really?
Let's
How
go,
many
yeah.
beers have you had? 3? 2?
Yeah, it's the third one.
2 beer buzz is a legit thing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm I don't know what I'm on. I think 3, 4.
I don't drink it. I drink.
I drank
like-
a six pack last night.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I had like 5 beers, but like
Or
where I'm
5,
at
yeah,
now,
5.
I don't drink enough, and 2 beers can make me like just relax.
See, this is the most I've ever weighed in my life. I'm weighing 205 now, so
Do you like that?
yeah, I love it. I feel
Yeah.
so healthy.
Do you?
Like, I feel so much stronger too. Like doing things, like I don't feel like I would get back pain a little more before, and I get a lot less now weighing more.
I'm 185. I feel so light.
You weigh
nice.
185?
185.
Damn, dude.
I
Yeah,
feel light.
I feel amazing at 205.
I feel like very flexible, very light. I feel like everything is like easy to pick up, easy. Like I don't feel tired. I feel like and there's some things I could do to my diet to kind of help myself out. Eat a lot of fast
For sure.
food.
So I don't eat much fast food.
I burn a lot of calories. 30,000 miles a day
Yeah.
or 30,000 steps a day. 8
30,000
miles.
miles a day, I'll walk them.
Yeah, easy. But
Uphill
30,000
both
steps,
ways.
That's
the most I ever hit was 36,000. That's when I was counting, and I took the little strap off because I was like hitting it on the door, like cracking it and shit. Just but I don't know. I just feel like I feel very light. Like 185 is not necessarily what I want to be, but I'm not working out right now,
Yeah.
so that's probably why I'm not like pushing 200. Usually when I'm working out and like really protein
Well, the summer's
shakes
coming
and-
too, so
right. But we're just coming out of the winter. Usually I'm
heavier.
a little heavier in the winter, but it's like in the summer, like I probably should start working out and getting some protein shakes because I don't want to hit 170. That's not something I'm
Yeah,
looking at
probably
doing,
not super
especially
healthy,
not at 6'3". Yeah.
Yeah, I like being a little heavier, man. It feels good. I feel stronger, but I still feel like just as I guess dexterous. I had to squeeze into a real fucking tight spot the other day at work, and I got in there pretty easy.
Did you?
I felt pretty good about it.
So what are you weighing now?
so I got down to 205.
I was about to say I was going to guess 205.
So then I started doing the ultras and
What's that?
the
Ultramarathons.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, ultramarathons, and I've put on. I would like to get down, but it's hard to do those runs without
Eating.
a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
feel you.
So and then you carb load before the races. So I'm around 220, 225. I kind of fluctuate.
That's
with
healthy.
That's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I always told people that whenever I would like take a week or two off of training, I would lose weight.
Yeah.
Because I was eating less, or I was eating a lot less because I wasn't working out as much, and I wasn't burning so many
Yeah.
calories. But like if I took 2 weeks off of the train, I would lose 5 pounds, which is so crazy because
Yeah,
you're
it's
burning
weird,
so much
right?
sweat and
Yeah.
calories.
Yeah, it does. It definitely adds up.
How's
Yeah,
the
for sure.
marathons been?
Great. So beginning of December, I did the 24-hour race and got 48 miles. That was just how far can I go?
That's fucking crazy.
2 weeks.
48 miles.
2 weeks later.
24 hours.
2 weeks later, I did the longest night. This race right here, and it was a 50K, and you kind of run. It was
How many miles is a 50K?
it's like
70.
31 and a
Oh,
half.
30. So that's less. Sorry.
It's
Okay.
not 31 and a half. It was
Stupid.
32. Like, yeah.
And what you've told me is that you've kind of gotten to a spot to where like you can like as long as your heart rate stays in between.
I don't really worry about heart rate when on the race days.
Okay.
Just when I'm training,
Okay.
because that builds the endurance, and it's just zone 2 heart rate training.
So what's that?
Zone 2 heart rate training is, so the calculation I go by is you have 220 minus twice your age. So do the math on that.
220 miles. I don't know how old you are. Are you 33?
No, I'm 37.
37.
37.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers, man.
Yeah.
33 was a legit guess for me.
Yeah.
It was a legit
It's
guess.
always
So-
good when they guess under.
Yeah.
Everybody always guess over for me, and I'm
74.
like, is that a knock on my looks or is that respect to my personality? I never can tell.
Yeah.
So 146 would be
Yeah.
the number.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's actually, so just whenever you do it a lot, you'll kind of know, because it's really based more on your max heart rate. And like, if anybody is interested, like, there's plenty of research, but that'll kind of get you started and give you
So like you want to stay at 146 or zone 2 is above 146?
no. So what I do is I kind of subtract 10. I stay between 10 to 15 heartbeat per minute in that zone. I don't peak outside of 146.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I train,
So that's not super like crazy.
Oh no, it's super.
But it's just
like
consistent.
It feels wrong because when I first started doing it, I just had to trust. I had to trust the training because my brother, he did the Chicago Marathon, and I was watching his time. And,
How many brothers do you have?
I have 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
no, you're good. So he did the Chicago Marathon, and he did the entire race at a 8-minute mile pace. The entire race, and
That's fucking solid.
yeah, and I'm like,
That's very good.
and he's 10 years older than me.
Damn.
That's inspiration, right?
And I'm like,
He's in good shape.
oh,
Has to be.
yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, but he's not an 8-minute mile guy.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, what's the secret? And he just said, zone 2 heart rate training. That's
8-minute miles
dude,
the
that's-
whole race.
That's my brother.
That's
That's
solid.
all he's going to give you. He's not going to explain it.
Really?
He just zone 2 heart rate training.
That's crazy because whenever I'm doing cardio, trying to burn more calories or whatever, I tend to stay around 160. That's where I like to train at for maybe 15 minute intervals. I try to stay at 160, and 160 doesn't feel crazy, but it's definitely a little exhausting. But I could see 140. I mean, that's still up there a little bit, but it's not like uncomfortable.
Yeah, so a lot of people do it just based on because they'll have a running buddy. So I don't run with anybody. I run by myself. So I've kind of got to have a system. But if you can talk and keep a conversation going, they say you're still in zone 2.
Okay.
It's when you get out of that, like, well, yeah. You know,
Okay.
it's
I wonder
hard.
if talking just kind of gets your mind off of like just the physical part of it. You know, just kind of walking and you're talking to somebody. It's like your mind's off of where you're by yourself. Your mind's like, oh, you know, can I
So
make
are
it?
you-
Blah blah blah.
Are you jogging to do that, or are you walking?
No, it's, so at the start, I did it, and my zone 2 mile was like 17 minutes.
Okay.
It was crazy. Like it was like so slow.
Yeah.
And now it's down to 11 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's 11-minute mile.
That's
now.
very good.
So
That's
like
very good heart rate.
the longer you train, the lower that gets.
Sure.
So like that's why you see those dudes in the Olympics, and they're like,
Sprinting.
I mean, you like let's just say you see like the guys not from Kenya, and they're just like red.
It looks exhausting.
Yeah, and then you see the Kenyans
yeah.
just like jogging, kind of looking.
And it looks like
over.
they're jogging and they're running a fucking 5-minute mile.
Yeah, yeah, and that's because they've been zone 2 training their entire life. Like
That's incredible.
unintentionally.
That's really good.
But now they're doing it.
That's really interesting too.
Now they're doing it intentionally. So
yeah, and they
so-
have the access and the diet and everything else.
the perfect model would be well, I mean, it's fitness, so there's no such thing as perfect.
That's right.
So I guess the gold standard right now for long distance running would be an 80-20 training model.
Okay.
And 80% is zone 2 training, and then 20% is VO2 max training.
What's VO2 max? Like high interval, like as high as you
Yeah.
get your heart rate?
Yep. And it's like you're doing a lot of sprints, and that's kind of with
Yeah,
those two
bleachers and shit.
combined. With those two combined, it's deadly. And I'm just now starting some VO2 max training.
Now to like, I know how much does strength play a factor into how fast you run, as far as, because like obviously you can run fast as fuck if you're strong. Like you look at guys like Tyreek Hill, where his hamstrings are incredible. Like his leg strength is incredible.
Yeah, but
he's not running for endurance and distance.
Yeah, because your body needs so much oxygen to carry those muscles need so much oxygen.
So you think that more muscle will make it worse for you?
Oh, for long distance?
Sure.
Yeah, but it would help for like knee injuries. So like if because when you're running slow, it's hard to run with good form.
Absolutely.
So
because you're like almost like like a hop.
Yeah. So
A lot of impact on the knee.
Unless you're an elite athlete, you're not running these ultramarathons at a super fast pace.
Okay.
You're normally, keeping like a 11, 12-minute mile pace.
Sure.
And but I mean you're doing 30, 40, 50 miles.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And sometimes more.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is because like I wonder like if plyometric training would help you at all.
It definitely would. Anything that would strengthen my legs would help out because it takes workload off of my knees.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you can do that, like the muscles will carry the load, will help carry the load.
Yeah,
for improper form because it's really difficult to run with good form.
that's probably why my shins hurt as bad as they do.
Yeah,
and
no,
knees because I have terrible form.
Yeah, so some people say heel striking, some people, but like toe striking is what is midfoot to toe striking is what you want, but it doesn't matter how you do it. It's got to land under your knee, under a bent knee. Your foot has to hit the ground under a bent knee.
Oh.
If it doesn't, then you're going to have problems. It's just going to.
Okay. So
because you're stopping your momentum every time.
So it's weird because whenever, you text me the other day and then so I was like, fuck it, I run a mile. And I run so my phone app said it was a mile right at a 10-minute mile. But then I drove the block with my car and it said it was a mile and a half. So I'm not sure what it was. I don't think I was running a 7-minute mile pace. I felt slow.
I think I could hit a good mile time right now. I don't think I could do long distance, but like as far as like getting a quick mile in, I think I could do pretty good.
But like I noticed that
I bet you could, yeah.
At the start, I was going, I was heel striking, and then by the end, I was midfoot striking.
Yeah,
and I was like, I don't know if this feels better or not. Like I didn't really know.
It's awkward if you.
It was kind of hard. The problem I have is I don't keep my feet straight. I start to turn my feet like this.
Oh yeah.
When I run, and that's how I noticed a lot of problems with my shins. So it was kind of awkward, and I don't have the best ankles, so like trying to force my feet to stay straight when I'm tired was really hard. But
yeah,
welcome to the running podcast.
yeah. No, like I love it. I'm doing so I did that. I did the 50K 2 weeks later after I did the 48 miles, and then 2 weeks later I did the 12-hour run, and my goal was 50 miles in 12 hours, and I hit 51.
Oh fuck.
And that was I was
hard.
So I really messed my legs up on that one because I had to take basically the entire month of January off with no training at all because I had stress fractures on my I've told you about that because I was running with the carbon plate shoes that you're supposed to just be sprinting with and training with sprints, but I didn't know that. So I'm wearing these Nike Vapor Max shoes that
fucked your shins up.
Oh yeah, because just like it's gonna find
over time. Oh god,
carbon fiber is not gonna bend,
budge. Yeah.
So like, where does that energy
go? It goes in your shins.
Yeah, it goes up. And
51 miles.
And
of
you
that.
do 12. Yeah.
Oh my god, but your shins were burning, dude.
Oh no,
You thought you had some serious injuries?
So the doctor said that I ruptured a hamstring, and like I did that at like mile 22. I felt
it's amazing what the body can really handle.
And I did more
the
than
mind
half.
is the only limitation.
It really is.
No, that's why I love it so much. And what's crazy is that everybody's like, "Man, you got to go to a dark place to go that far," and I'm like, "No,
you gotta go to your happy place."
No, you just
solid in the hips.
You just go in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it.
You really. That's what running was for me, is dissociating.
Yeah,
I just ignore. I am doing this. Telling your body that I'm not going to stop. When you get tired, I'm going.
But it sucks when people come up to you and like they're trying to talk to you, and then you got like, yeah.
Do you ever have a sense of like a certain level of stubbornness to get to that level? I think you kind of do, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would just kind of give up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. You definitely do. Because it's not easy. And then I took the entire month off, and then I did the. With no training at all, I did another 50K at the end of January, and then I've got a 48-hour run in April, and my goal is
100 miles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's the goal. I was about to ask, what's the goal?
That's the goal.
100 miles is the goal?
Yeah, I want to get it in 24 hours.
I watched a documentary.
In theory, you can.
Like my goal, so I set like my goals in 3 tiers, the bronze, silver, gold.
I like that.
So obviously my bronze goal is just to start the race, just That's easy.
Just to get there,
Yeah,
take the time off.
Just getting there. That
Yeah,
way.
because
yeah.
we all have families, we all have things.
Yeah.
It's a sacrifice to get there.
And my wife's, she's crushing it because like that's 2 days that I'm gonna really 3 or 4
She's having to
days
handle the kids. You have
that
3.
I'm not gonna be there.
Yeah.
Because
So props to her.
Being up for 48 hours is hard enough.
Yeah, and I'll probably if I can time it right, I want to get all my distance in and then crash. So I want to get 50 miles in and then crash. And then I'll get like maybe a 3-4 hour nap and then finish the remainder of the
Oh, a
time.
nap would be amazing in the middle of that. Yeah, but you sleep incredible.
But then you got to get back. You got to get going again.
Yeah,
that's the
that's true.
toughest part.
But your
Yeah.
body is very
because your
relaxed.
body is very relaxed, and you're like your body's shutting down.
But it
'Cause
is.
it's like it's time to relax. Let's shut down. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, it's time to go. It's time to go now.
But it's a lot. I mean, like, because I've got a massage gun, so you got to work that lactic acid
oh
build
yeah,
up. Because if you do lay down with not massaging at all,
cramps.
you're not gonna be able to move those legs.
Yeah.
Unless you do like maybe 10 miles, not lay down. But I want to get a good
A certain
halfway out.
percentage done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty like I love it because you got to think about nutrition because your body is depleting and you can feel it. You got to have so many grams of carbs per hour, so many grams of protein.
Yeah, for muscle rebuilding and stuff.
Yeah, that
The tissue's gonna
and
break
sugar.
away.
You got to have a shit ton of sugar.
Yeah.
Really.
So
Carbs.
these aid stations, it was almost like a gateway drug for me to see it because
The dopamine hit when you saw it. You was like, oh man, let's go.
no, like these aid stations are just like all you can eat, like Krispy Kreme, all you can eat Oreo because like your body's burning it.
It's burning and you need it.
And I'm like,
And you can have it.
I can eat this. I mean, if I'm being honest, that's probably because I was so strict on my diet for so long
yeah.
that I was like,
I can keep running. If I keep running like this, I can keep eating this.
yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah, so we're a mental game, right? Because you're talking about when you get out of there, you're thinking like, oh, if I could just continue to do these, I can continue to eat like this. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and those are my cheat days.
Okay. So how's the diet right now?
That's a good cheat day.
What's the diet look like right now? Because I know you were doing the
1 meal a
daily
day.
glass of, all the different things you put in there that would help you out.
So I've kind of like the ultras, is I've kind of gotten soft, but I'm actually like with all this, I'm carb loading I've got to get a long run in to just prepare the bones, prepare the muscle, So I'm going to try to get a 6-hour run in sometime next week. Maybe I might do it tomorrow. Just knock it out, and I'll just go to the Palmetto track and just run. And
Is it more fun running like not the same lap or loop? Or does it matter to you?
it doesn't matter to me because like running's running. I actually prefer the lap because when I kind of get bored, you can really break it down into segments, and then
Yeah.
I'll do like math in my head, and like just like okay, that lap.
No.
I'll do like pace math and like, okay, but you also got to worry about your heart rate because once you get over that threshold of your heart rate, you're no longer in zone 2 and you can, and like
true.
your body goes into zone 3, which every zone has.
Now,
its
can
own,
you go back down to zone 2 or is it hard?
Oh, it takes
you
a
gotta
while.
stop?
Like you pretty much got to stop. It takes a couple of hours for your body because when you're in zone 2, your body is burning fat for fuel.
Okay.
And that's why you can go so long because fat's such a better fuel source than carbs or sugars. Like
Okay.
it's like
That
diesel.
makes sense, yeah.
It's
like diesel.
Well,
It's like Lowe's.
yeah,
Nice.
it's like clean diesel.
Sure.
Like it burns for so much longer. It burns slow, but like you can't be exerting a lot of energy, or else your body's like this.
That's not enough.
This takes too long
Yeah,
to
okay.
burn. I've got to go to.
What's in the
I
belly,
got to
yeah.
go to the sugar. I got to go to the sugar.
Okay.
So and then
That's
if you get out of zone 2 and you're in zone 3 and you don't have sugar, you start getting lightheaded. But yeah, anytime you see the guys throwing up, and that's poor nutrition, like passing
Really?
out. Yeah, that's all it is, poor nutrition. And
So that's good. So you have a good reason to drink these beers then today.
Yeah,
Carbon.
yeah,
good.
no, yeah. Like,
Cheers.
dude,
Cheers.
Cheers
Number
to
3?
beers.
Number 3 or
I'm
4?
telling you,
Sure.
like you guys need to do one. Like I know you're scared of it. Hear me out.
I'm not scared of it because I consider doing it because it sounds fun. The problem is these knees only have a certain amount of time.
I'm scared of it.
These knees only have a certain amount of time, and they don't need that much. I can't take on extra damage. I probably shouldn't have bought a house with stairs. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, like I go up and down that truck 200 plus times a day. And that's not even counting the fact that I'm lifting with the knees and walking up hills, down hills. Like these knees, every person in my profession gets both knees replaced. It's very, very common, and that's what I'm trying to prevent. And that's what really has fueled me to start working out and taking better care of myself is to strengthen my knees. That way I can really
Biometrics.
be there for my family and be there long term to support my family. So anything like karate, a lot of exploding off the knees, you talk about your shins hurting. Those things sound fun. Like combat sports sound fun. Honestly, I love violence. Running. I don't mind running. I think that's one of the reasons why I have the job I have because I'm very hands-on. I love athletics.
How do you feel about murder?
When you brought it up, a couple years ago when you was looking to do your first one, I was like, man, that would be so fun to go out there, my first one, your first one, and just go do it. And I was like,
dude,
life is all about balance. I need to balance this out. These knees don't need more pressure. That's just my take on it, and I think that's just me looking out for myself and just making sure I don't do wild shit to kind of just tear my knees apart.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I enjoy running, but it hurts after, like really bad hurts. Like I stretched good that day, and I still felt it in my shins a little bit, and that was only 1 mile.
See, y'all have that gym class mentality of running. Like that's what I'm saying. These
I don't know if that was a positive or negative thing.
No. It's just like
Seemed like a runner's jab.
No. It's not like there's like the guys
like a gym class.
The guys that run ultras, and then like you'll see the people that run marathons. There's a body type. But then you get to the ultras, and then you would think it would be a similar body type. Now the elites are
right.
But then when you get to the ultras,
it's just people who know what the fuck they're doing,
or it's just people want to have a good time.
Okay.
And like, dude, there's people out there that just walk the whole time and just drink beer and just walking and having a good time. They'll help other people. But hey man, you need some ramen.
And they're eating ramen, eating a cup of ramen.
Yeah, like dude, you're running. Like some people are running, eating ramen. And
that sounds like indigestion.
Yeah, no, yeah,
heartburn.
Like, all of that is training. But like that was what whenever I was a big boy. It really helped me.
How does that feel? To know you lost 115 pounds?
I'm sure you've already believed this, but I'm sure now more than ever you believe that whatever you put your mind to, you can succeed.
So see, here's the thing. Like that's how
you had already believed that. I guarantee you
that. Like that's who I knew I was.
Yeah, if I'm being honest with you,
and then you proved it to yourself.
I'm surprised it took you this long because I've known you've had a strong mind for a long time.
Yeah, like it didn't bother me until that kid said something to my daughter, and I saw it bother my daughter.
What
was said?
Like, I went to this winter field day, and she said.
Dang, that's a big boy.
No, he was like, hey. She was like, hey, Dad, hey. She was so excited to see me. I was like, hey. And then, like, the kids whisper as kids whispers.
And they talk without thinking,
No, like, I'm not blaming you. I'm not
of course,
mad or my feelings wasn't hurt.
They can be very blunt.
Right.
They can be very blunt
said,
sometimes.
He leaned down and, like, thought he whispered, but he said it really loud, and, like, I could hear it. And he's like, why is your dad so fat? And like Paisley, her face
got red.
No, it didn't get red. Like,
she got mad. Like she wanted to. Disappointment.
Oh,
I don't know. She said, I don't know.
Yep, never again.
That was December. That was like December.
It was December.
It was probably like December 14th, December 15th of 2022.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
does it ever get tired of hearing the praise? Because I know every time I see you, I just I get inspired. Not to get too like weird or whatever, but like
I kind of brushed it off.
I'm sure it does get a little strange that like the people who have seen you kind of transition and go on this journey, they do. I'm sure you get a lot of praise for that. Is that weird to handle?
No, like I don't like any kind of attention like that.
I'm like that too. Yeah.
So like I kind of brushed it off. Oh, thanks, man.
Thank you,
yeah,
thank
you're looking
you.
good too. You know,
Yeah.
like, but
Have you lost weight? Oh, well, you probably should.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, no. Whenever I saw my daughter's face drop, and like I knew I had.
That was a pivotal moment.
She's like her face was, that's my dad.
Yeah, no. I realized I'm like, because like I was like comfort was my king. You know, that was where, you know, like you got that. I don't know if you guys ever heard my comfort speech. That
Yeah.
was like, you know, like as long as I'm happy, and I'm comfortable.
Then
like,
what else matters?
Yeah, like
I'm
what
taking care of my family.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
But in that
Financially,
moment, you probably
I'm
felt like
fine.
you were not taking care of your family.
No, in that
Or
moment,
her
it
at least.
revealed to me that, you know, she was the first time. I don't know if it's the first time, but it's the first time I saw that she was ashamed of me being her dad, and I was like, I'm about to be the hardest motherfucker that anybody
That can go two different ways.
in this school
And,
has ever
yeah.
seen.
That can go two different ways. It could just beat you down and make you depressed, or you can channel that shit and turn it into what you turned it into.
No, what motivates me more than anything is like the negative stuff.
Like what?
Like, you know, like posting something and like, you know, getting a text, you know, from a brother or somebody like, you know, man, your heart rate was a little too high for that pace.
God,
And-
people always love to hate, man.
No, but I love it. Like that.
Did you get that text?
Yeah.
Okay. It just seemed
Yeah.
very specific.
It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, but because he knows me, that's why he doesn't explain. He doesn't explain
Because he knows he can take that little jab.
well
Because there's some truth to what he's saying.
when he
And because you're a logical guy and you're going to be like, oh, he's right. And it kind of cuts you a little bit. And he knows that. And that's why he says it.
yeah, so like he told me like the zone 2 heart rate training. You know, I asked some questions and he just answered very shortly. But like he just told me zone 2 heart rate training
Which was enough. I
If
mean,
I-
you did your own research.
I'm going
because
to
he knew like,
take a little bit of a brother
Exactly.
pivot here. Is he older or younger?
oh, I'm the youngest.
You're
So,
the
yeah,
youngest?
he's
Okay,
old.
I'm going to take a little bit of a pivot
Yeah,
here.
respect. We've had that talk.
Do you think that's some like an intimidation thing for your older brother that like he sees you doing good and he wants to kind of knock you down a level because
No,
he feels a little self-conscious? Because like for me, growing up, my goal has always been and still is, you know, even with chess, when I learn something, I immediately tell Brian. Like when I learn something, I immediately tell him because I know it's going to benefit you and
It makes you better.
it makes you better. Now, the negative side of that is that I'm on a 3-game skid against Bryant right now,
Don't worry.
and
Yeah.
he's got a sharper mind, and it's like, okay, now I got to deal with this battle of the younger brother being better than the older brother, and I'm okay with that. That's something that I'm okay with, you know, because that's the whole reason why I'm trying to inform him of, like, you know, life decisions and, you know, whatever little game it is. So when I see older brothers kind of taking those jabs, it does bother me because I think that they are intimidated and they're
See, I
scared
wanna-
of because
I want to take a different approach to this.
because
Go
when
ahead, finish it.
Bryant when I'm trying to give Bryant knowledge and make him better in certain things, you know, whether it's credit, whether it's buying a house, whether just life experience stuff and stuff that I know that he can learn on his own, but I'm just trying to cut
Makes it
some of
easier.
that. I'm
Cut corners,
cut the
yeah.
fat off of it, you
Yeah,
know.
That's right.
Yeah, I feel like it just kind of hurts to see older brothers take those little small jabs when they could be giving you that knowledge and sharing it to you. Because I'm sure he has a lot of knowledge he can share to you that can kind of help elevate you. But you know, you did say that he doesn't really. That's all he says is like, you know, this is the training that I did. That's it. To where when I'm in those situations with Brian, I'm like, okay, I'll go into deep detail. Maybe that's just like a personality thing. Maybe
Well-
that's a disconnect there. I don't know, but
I think so. What I took out of that is, and I want to kind of allude to how kind of a situation I've gotten into at work where there's some people that I'm very hard on at work. Like I don't filter myself at all. Whenever they do some stupid shit, I say, David, that was some fucking stupid shit. And I tell him straight up, and I'm very harsh to him, and he receives it very well, and he makes an adjustment. But then other people, they'll ask me questions, and we'll talk about it or whatever. But, like, I don't have a filter. Y'all know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of the people that I work with, they come to me a lot. Like, this kind of happened a few times in the last few months where people are just coming to me asking, like, about a situation because they know I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Mm-hmm.
If I think they're fucking wrong, I'm going
I've
to
had
tell
some
them.
guys at work come to me for the same reason.
And so I think it could be more of a perception thing. Like, with me and you, I know that you tell me things in detail because I receive it very well that way.
Of course, yeah.
But, like the guy I was talking about, David takes it whenever you criticize what he did and he already knows that it was wrong and you criticize it, he receives it well. You can't sugarcoat it with him. But then, like Luker, it's the opposite. If I talk to him in a more mellow tone and it's more relaxed, he takes it very well, right? And so I think that's like what's really good about Brent. Is like, and he's kind of talked about this in the last podcast we had with you too. You were like, yeah, this is what you should do. Oh, you should do this. That's not the approach for you. That approach you don't receive that approach as well because you're like, that sounds almost full of shit.
Yeah.
But your approach that you receive is minimal information. You do your research. That's another reason I recommended not learning a chest opening.
But, like, I have to intentionally hold that back because I want to. You guys have seen my texts. You guys have seen my explanations. I want to explain everything. You know.
Yeah, I know. I have a little bit of that too.
You know, like that's like because kind of like you said, like dude, I'll do the work. Yeah, I'm doing the work for you. But, like, I'm getting to where now, hey, how'd you lose your weight? And, like, instead of explaining it, YouTube Dr. Berg, do what he says. That's it.
That's
and
it.
if they want to, they will, and if they don't, they won't.
Yep. That's
Yeah, I have a problem with that because I try to balance out. If it is a topic that I am knowledgeable about, I don't want to come across like I'm talking down to people. Because it can be like, because I'm sure you have ran into some situations to where, like, you have lost 115 fucking pounds. That's that's impressive. And you're talking to a guy who is 325, and you're like, you want to share your excitement and, like, what it takes and go into detail, but you don't want to make that person feel like shit in the same sense. I don't you know what I'm saying?
It's really weird to find out what makes people receive a message to where they could use it.
Yeah.
Like, some people, like I said, some people need to be told
directly.
quit being a fucking pussy.
Yeah.
Do you want to lose weight or do you not want to lose weight?
Some people need the hard.
Some people say they want to lose weight and then they get uncomfortable and they're like, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually want to lose weight. I
think they do. I think you're just weak mentally.
Well, sure.
although
I guess it depends on the person. Is what you're saying.
there's so many variables whenever
Right.
like I mean, you got the people that need to lose 10 pounds,
Sure.
and you got the people that need to lose 100 pounds.
Right.
But, like, I don't know what it's like for the person that needs to lose 20 pounds, but, like, or, like, that's self-conscious about losing 20 pounds. It's always on their mind. But, like, I do know what it's like to be the guy that's over 100 pounds that you need to lose. And it's they're so, dude, it seems impossible.
Was there ever any doubt during the whole process? Was there ever any, like, urge to, like, just go back to the normal tendencies?
Not once. Because
that's some strong mental power right there, man.
No, because of what fueled it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't
that look
like,
of your daughter.
It
the
wasn't
disappointment.
like I wanna be sexy. It wasn't like
That's a problem with a lot
Because
of
you already
guys.
were sexy.
Yeah,
like it
still are.
It didn't matter to me. Like, honestly, it didn't. Like, that didn't even.
Sure.
It didn't even, like, it wasn't importance to me.
Most people are working out for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
For just ego, they just want to look good in front of the mirror.
But that
and get hot chicks and, like, attract women or something. It's like, and it's not sustainable because once they get a girlfriend, they just quit.
Yeah.
And you should be doing it for just your health reasons. I think if you can get into that mindset just to better your health, you're going to have better results.
Well, see, the goal, and it still is to be a man or to be a father that my kids can be proud of.
I thought it was a slippery slope for you.
And
how so?
Because you're the type of person that now you have this image of yourself that when you saw that look on your daughter's face of her being ashamed that you're, whatever, you hold that image of yourself, like, in your own mind, that's who you are. And so you're a perfectionist. And so now you're gonna. It's a never ending.
I think everybody at this table is.
But it's a never ending strive for you now. Like when will you feel like you can start slowing down and be comfortable? That's
Because I think there will be a time where
I don't think
I
there
think
ever
that
will
what
be.
Bryant's saying is there will be a time where
what I'm saying is there never will be. It's a slippery slope.
there could be a time where you're like, okay, what's next? You know, like you go, you know, you keep reaching these like, okay, the next thing's 100. Okay, there is a limit to.
There's a plateau for
There's
sure.
a plateau, and then what? You know, because that's going to bring on another mental battle that I think you can handle.
But
That's
see,
something to
you guys
consider.
are going. You guys are judging the fuel,
Okay.
like the fuel that brings plateaus. But the fuel I'm talking about is the core principle. Like I know you guys aren't into the Iron Man, you know.
I like
but-
Robert Downey.
Yeah, but like that nuclear energy, you know, it never goes out. It's never.
Is that an Iron Man?
Yeah,
reference?
yeah. That's what.
I don't know.
That's what fueled his heart. You know, like
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
I feel that pun. I feel the
Yeah,
the accidental puns, man. I do it all the time.
but dude, like that was my core. Like that was my number one. Is like being a father, being a good father, and like. you
And
know,
that is
take this for what
sustainable.
it is. Like that's my nuclear energy. Like nuclear energy doesn't go out. It stays. And like there is no plateaus. It's all comfortable. This isn't hard for me. It never was. Running 50 miles isn't hard for me. Like it never was, because like I know that, you know, I'm making my kids proud. I know that they're going to school and bragging that their dad ran 50 miles, and you know,
My dad beat your daddy's ass.
yeah, like
My kids will be right.
They
and
will.
like that feels good to me. You know
That's
what I mean?
awesome.
And the fact that they're Holden particularly is kind of wanting to run these things too. Like I did the 50K in January, the Snowbird Challenge, and he signed up for the 10K. So
It's cool to see your kids looking
Yeah.
up to you
I'd been
and
running,
being inspired by you. That definitely is. That's the nuclear energy. You know, it keeps you going.
yeah, like I'd been running all day, and I'm thinking I'm gonna have like, hey, this is the furthest you've ever ran, you know, which is 6.1 miles. The 10K he signed up. So
I've
mine-
never ran 6 miles.
Mine was 8 to 5. Like my race was it was 8 to 4 or 8 to 5, something like that. And so I'd been running since 8 that morning, and then he comes in at 3 o'clock, and so I'm thinking I'm gonna have to walk with him. I was like, hey, I'm not gonna be like hurting.
The
that
pushy,
I've got to
yeah.
walk. You know, like because I didn't want to push him too hard,
Right.
where
yeah.
he doesn't like the like,
That's right. Yeah. If he wants to walk, make it fun for him.
yeah. So hey, we'll walk. But he's like, hey, Dad, first lap. You're kind of running a little too slow for me. You mind if I just speed up? I was like, dude, you go ahead.
He said that?
This is oh yeah.
I bet that made your heart like full.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did you think he was going to say like try to cop out a little bit when he was like initiating the sentence? I guess.
Yeah, because he'll always say, Dad, I'm sorry. I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings, but and then say it. But like
I need to walk.
He's a sociopath. He doesn't even care. Like, he doesn't even process feelings. So like him saying that,
You think he gets that from you?
perhaps.
One could say.
Yeah, one could say.
No, but like, so he just knows that
That's
you
good.
know, I'm going to throw this disclaimer out because this could hurt someone's feelings, I think. So no, and I'm like, dude, you go for it. And man, he was running with the 7-minute mile pace people, and then like
That's
and then
fucking
I
awesome.
see him, he's like playing in the dirt, and I'm like, dude, let's go. You're gonna DNR because it was an elimination race. So like you had to be back at a certain
time.
at
or
a certain time each lap.
Okay.
Yeah. So, which it was a comfortable pace. Like it was like 17:11 pace.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
like you could
You could walk half of it.
yeah, and and how they know how we in the ultra community, how we normally handle that is no, we just walk the uphills and then just run the rest
Okay.
or jog.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to run up the hill.
Well,
you could
because
but-
you're using energy. You're
Right.
using
What
fuel.
about
More.
what about running down that road?
Running up the hill.
That's cool, man.
That's
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so you got to find that fuel. So like whatever you want, like if you want to be, so like imagine what does the person look like where the nuclear energy is money, like having a fat bank account. Wouldn't that be nice? Like, dude, that'd be kind of
Right. That's probably guys like Elon Musk and like Bezos who have the brain power to achieve it, but are also always chasing it.
Jeffrey Bezos.
So I do want to launch. You said something. So there's a Bible verse that.
Here we go.
That I do love the Bible. Like,
what makes you love the Bible? Not to interrupt, but
I mean, it's
for someone who has studied their whole life, was a preacher, and turned away from it, which is to me one of the most bizarre things that I've experienced through someone else. To turn around and say, okay, what my family has taught me, what I have studied, what I am is I no longer believe. It's kind of like saying that's a lie.
Well, it's part of it's part of it. It's like what we see, what you see as Christianity. I don't believe. Like I don't. I think it's all deception. But we can get into that later.
What was your Bible verse?
Yeah, thank you.
My Bible verse was open rebuke is better than hidden love. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, I think it's not to the hidden love part is what hits me first, because I think most of the time, especially as men, we kind of are scared to kind of express ourselves in an emotional way. And I think that if we did that as men, I think that we would be better because of it. We have a lot of pent up shit. Our fathers and their fathers have pushed a lot of emotions down in the favor of being a man and being tough. And I think that there is something to be said about that, but I also think that you need to balance that out as like everything in life. You need to balance out, whether it's spending time with your wife, your kids, your hobbies. You don't want to be with a spouse that takes away from your hobbies. You don't want to be with, what I'm saying? Like they're down to brushing your teeth. Life is about balance. So I think that more men need to be open about how they feel. And I try to be like that. And I am, not to put a label on myself, but I feel like sometimes I can be a little more stoic to my own detriment, I guess, to where like the people around me don't really know how much I love them. And I think that I need to do a better job of expressing that. How do you feel about it?
How do you feel about it?
So my first thought was I wanted to see what the rest of the verse said, 'cause I feel like a lot of times those segments of verses are taken not necessarily out of context, which this one definitely wasn't. The rest of it in the King James Version says,
"You'll learn that I don't fuck around."
Yeah, for sure.
When it comes
and which the way I took it initially was exactly what the rest of the it almost explains it, but it says, "Faithful are the words of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." And yeah, I think, there's a lot of truth to that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying before, I'm open. I'm very harsh. I don't have a filter.
We read that again.
Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful.
Okay.
So like in my mind, the wounds of a friend, I feel like I dish out a lot. I joke a lot for sure, but whenever it's time to be harsh, I don't have a joking tone, and I do. The open rebuke. I don't have a filter. So when it's time to say the shit that people don't want to hear, I will say it, and I'm okay with that. But sometimes like you do see the secret love, like it says, the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. It almost feels like whenever you do get, said kisses of the enemy, it feels like it doesn't feel real. And so, I guess that
for sure.
But see, that's not hidden love. That's because like kiss. So like this is what I love about like biblical interpretation.
Sure.
And hermeneutics is kissing like kisses of the enemy, like that is a physical, like you see that's not hidden at all.
Okay.
So like you physically see that.
That's very true.
So like the hidden love would be like, and I don't mean to cut you off, but like hidden love would be like you seeing someone that it has a drinking problem, and like they're just damaging themselves, and
don't say anything.
Yeah, you like it, like or like you see them like spending too much money on scratch offs or just anything, or like eating too much, or like.
But how do you say and tell that person without coming across as a condescending asshole? You know, like as a person who is on their high horse, like you're buying too many lottery tickets. You know, because you say you're very blunt, but sometimes that can be. I
come off as an a lot of people think I'm an asshole,
and I could see that.
I thought you were like.
I am an asshole.
It took me probably about 3 times of us playing Magic.
I'm an asshole, yeah.
That I took the time to get to know you.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's not an asshole at all.
That's what a lot of people say about me. They're like, the first time I met you, I was like,
you're bad at first impressions.
No, I'm not.
Not necessarily bad.
My first impression
you
is exactly what I want to get
You
off.
are you, yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's bad at all.
Bad is a bad, yeah. That's not
like Patrick that came over that night. He hung out. And he was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. The first time I met you, I was like,
you're direct.
He was like, holy fuck, this guy's obnoxious. And the second time, he was like, oh wow, I was wrong. That's what he told me. He was like, the first time I met him, he was like, I didn't want to hang out with him again. I didn't want to meet it, like have to deal with him again. He was like, but I
you have a strong personality.
Yeah, I come off very strong.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Go. That's what I mean. Not bad.
I don't want to not
first impression. Yeah, I got.
If people don't want to, if people can't handle it, that's fine.
That's on them.
Like you rubbed me the wrong way so bad that I wanted to hit you at one point, and I didn't because I'm like, no, this is gonna be awkward. And like looking back, I'm so glad I didn't do that because that would have been a mistake.
Do you remember how the dialogue was then? Like what was said, and do you remember that moment that made you want to?
Okay, first off, you got to realize that
curious.
By the time we're at that point,
we've all been drinking.
We've all been drinking for a long time.
And I was like, what, probably 18, 19?
Yeah. So like,
at Sean's apartment.
Yeah. So like, I already felt uncomfortable drinking with a guy under 21.
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
fair.
You got that variable. So I'm already like on edge. The Queen's Pen.
Queen's Pen.
Like with that. So yeah, so like it doesn't, when you're already on the edge, it doesn't take much more to throw you over the edge, and you add a bunch of alcohol into that. So whatever it was, I can guarantee you it was not deserved at all.
Maybe it was,
but
and I feel like, especially at that age, I probably came off that way because I was like, what are they going to do? Fight me? Like in my eyes,
Yeah, and dude, like he would have whooped my ass so bad.
Maybe. I mean, you never know. You could have knocked me out first punch. I've been drinking at underage. You never know.
Nah, I doubt it.
but like that's.
He trying to be modest.
I don't. I don't.
Modest.
Whenever he's trying to be modest.
Whenever people say I come off as an asshole, I know. I don't. And the reason I come off as an asshole is because you weed out the people that you want to be around and the people you don't want to be around very quickly.
You do.
Yeah.
But also, you personally have to learn how to balance that out, because you could end up ruining relationships of the people who have accepted that about you. And if you continue down that road with that personality, you could end up ruining the relationship, pushing those people away. So you have to kind of learn to balance that out a little bit. That's at least my 2 cents from a distance. I think the older I get, I'll learn that you have to, relationships are like plants. You got to water them. If you don't water them, they're going to die. And if you shit on them, they're going to be shit on.
Well, I don't want to say, I like your thing of relationships like plants, but my problem is that the plant doesn't water you back. And I feel like to have a good relationship, there has to be two. It has to go both ways.
The person on the other side has to understand that too.
It has to go both ways.
Absolutely.
And if they don't, and they don't have any interest in it going both ways,
then is it worth your time?
Is it worth my time?
Exactly.
See,
I understand that.
Like, we're getting into like love languages now. So like sometimes just being around somebody can water the plant.
Sure.
Like not investing anything but just time, or like like quality time. The 5 love languages.
Yeah, sure.
That but yeah, so yeah, it all depends on it all depends on the person, because a lot of people think I'm an extrovert, but like I'm not. Like
Same here.
I recharge by myself.
Same here.
Extroverted introvert.
Yeah, like I can be an extrovert. I can go up to anybody and talk to them, but like I can't do that for a very long time because I have to recharge. But yeah, no, I didn't want to. I want to say one thing, and then I want you to finish what you were talking about that with that verse. But you had that. What really won me over was that beautiful artifact deck you built. Like,
Are you talking about the pendulum of patterns?
The pendulum of fucking patterns.
because
I got
like
tired of hearing that
it was
shit.
a homebrew, and you know, like
I love homebrews. The
Yeah,
first
like-
deck is like
that's why I
Your
like. That's
purest
why I don't
form.
want to do the openings, like, because it's like it's not a net deck.
what Ryan is saying is true, and what I'm saying is true too. Both things can be true.
Yeah,
I'm a preparer. Bryant is. I feel like you're more of a
improvise.
improviser, which I'm
We-
learning that I need to take some of that, and I think you
Yeah,
need to take
I
some of
need
that
to
too.
take
but
yeah.
that artifact deck was a homebrew, and it would crush any net deck. But statistically, net decks are better than your homebrews. And a net
Right,
deck,
of
a net
course.
deck is somebody is a deck that people
Now
just,
that what's the fucking the annoying ass deck I built?
The
one-
sliver deck.
Slivers, yeah. So I
Yeah.
got inspiration from a net deck.
Yeah,
on that.
yeah,
I was like
yeah.
just scrolling. I was like, fuck it, let's look
Yeah.
at it. And I saw slivers. And I was like, what is this? And I looked at it. I was
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, you can do that. And so I just made the whole deck off of random shit.
Yeah.
Which is basically, that deck's tough though.
That's a tough
That's
deck
like-
because my blue deck was like that was a homebrew deck. It was the first deck I ever built. It was a Sphinx deck. It was all blue. It was a return card to
Magic the
hand
Gathering, fuck yeah.
and a Sphinx deck. So like
Yeah.
I would all my little low mana cards would return your card to hand, and then all my spells and instances were return card to hand, and then I would keep returning your card to hand until I got the Sphinxes out, and the Sphinx was built all off of each other. And it was the first deck I ever built, and it was so good. And then the sliver deck, I just kept wanting to play it over and over because I kept losing to it, and I was like, this is a great deck because it kept winning. Like I
So-
would beat every other
Y'all
deck.
used to say you can't play the sliver deck. You're like, don't play the sliver deck, please. It's fucking obnoxious. Like,
Yeah.
and I get it though, because
But
it
I-
is. It's
but
not
I-
even. It almost got to the point where it wasn't fun to play it.
And
So I
he-
didn't have to think. I was just like, oh, I just play the card and I win.
Justin. That's why I don't want to show Justin chess because he's good. He's a
he
good
would be.
homebrewer.
I'd say he would be great.
That defense, that defense deck that he built, where
Oh
everything's
yeah,
like
the wall
The trees,
deck,
the
wall,
wall, yeah, the wall deck.
wall deck.
0-8 and like 0, and
Ten-
then
and
you
then
get-
the
they can
one
and then
card.
all their defense turns.
He's
into
just
attack.
he's
Yeah,
just
and then-
defending
yeah.
until he gets the card, and then once he gets the card, it's over.
yeah. So I built we had gotten out of it, but I had built a
I love that deck.
I had built a horsemanship deck that I was gonna like just piss y'all off with. And do y'all know what horsemanship is?
Nope.
I tell you what, why don't you look up horsemanship? I don't want to ruin it.
I'd
And
rather do that.
Yeah,
I do
like-
want to go back to. I'm gonna look this up while I talk, but I want to go back to the first
Well,
impression
no,
thing too.
okay. I'll just go and tell you. Then we'll go back to that because
Okay.
horsemanship is creatures without horsemanship can't block creatures with horsemanship.
So if you don't
like-
have horsemanship, you're fucked.
Yeah. So like that was the whole thing, and these were old cards.
Very specific.
That's so obnoxious, and
And
it
I-
can kill everything.
And dude, I
Yeah.
bought it I spent probably $200 on this deck because like these are old cards.
Yeah.
And then something happened. I went back through and I was like, "Ooh, this is a good one." And I saw that all the horsemanship decks like had quadrupled in price. And then you know me,
Probably for that reason.
I'm a buy and sell guy,
Yeah.
so
All right,
like,
hold on. Let me look at
I
some
can't
of these
hold
cards.
on to it. So I just
You
sold,
sold it. That's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, creatures you control have horsemanship. They can't be blocked except by creatures with horsemanship.
Yeah, like dude, that
It's a
was
4/4 human soldier. There's another one though.
Oh, there's a bunch more.
This one though specifically it makes me laugh. It's horsemanship, and it says whenever Luzon, which is the name of the card, Scholar General deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. So,
Such a good,
but it's only 1/3.
Yeah.
so
such
it's
a
just
good
gonna survive
support
and-
card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Damn,
funny.
Magic.
But yeah, like the first impression thing, I feel like I probably come off as a Chad,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I wonder if I have a thought that like I might do that as a deflection thing, where I don't want to show my true personality to people. And maybe that's the reason I don't want to let people inside. Maybe I'm scared. Maybe I don't want to be vulnerable to people. And so maybe that's why I try to come off that because it's comedy to me, like to act like an asshole.
I don't want to disrespect you at all, but I'm like fighting like piss. So
Well,
bad.
me too. I was really hoping somebody else would say it. So
Yeah, like I'm like, dude, I want to listen.
We'll take a
wanna
break,
listen.
guys.
yeah, we'll come back with this.
we'll be
I'll
right back,
remember.
yeah.
We'll be back, guys.
Check.
Cheers.
Cheers. Check. We back, boys. Oh, Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I was talking about like the first impression thing, but
No, so okay, but like we got off. What was it? Open rebuke better than hidden love.
yeah,
Yes.
Go.
that's right. What are you asking? Like my take on it? Or like what do I think? Do I agree with it or?
Yeah, just whatever.
I think I do agree with it. I think the hardest part is, like you said, is how do you openly rebuke or whatever, or is like if you do give somebody shit for maybe not necessarily giving them shit is the best word, but you come on strong and you criticize the way somebody's doing something because you know it's bad for them. How do you do that in a way that's receptive, or is it still good whenever they shut you out when you do it?
I think you got another person. It's kind of like to use the chessboard as an analogy. Every game's different. Every person's different. You kind of got to learn how to take a person and if you care, then you're going to give them the honest opinion. But you kind of got to do it in a way that they can accept. I feel like, and you got to do it in a way where, if you truly love them, you want to do it in a way that's positive. But also, you want to, tones can be a good way to do it. Make sure you're not using, make sure you're using the right tones. Very soft spoken. At least this is my approach. There's definitely different approaches. But if I'm trying to tell somebody some hard criticism shit, maybe I start with like, hey man, I love you, but I think that this is the issue. Blah blah blah. This is something that you could work on. I don't mean to be somebody who's on a high horse. Maybe maybe that's a disclaimer. Maybe you do have some decline. It depends on the person, but you got to let them know that you're coming from a place of love, and not a place of I'm attacking you. Because when nobody like even when you come at people soft like that, sometimes some things are hard to take.
Well, and that's like some people need to be attacked. Like not necessarily like they need to be attacked for everyone else's benefit. It's better for some people to be attacked for their own
Some
reception.
people learn the hard way, and they need to have
Right.
have it punch them in the face.
Yeah.
Because like laying it to them soft the point doesn't get there.
Yeah, that's right.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah, the secret love part is what gets me because is that like you said, you're not saying anything to your alcoholic cousin. We'll say alcoholic uncle because that's probably more realistic, right? There's a lot of drunkles out there. I might be one. Who knows? I don't know. Not saying anything to your alcoholic uncle, right? Maybe you're scared of what he'll say, or you're scared of what your family will say.
Plus, he's older. He's got wisdom.
Yeah, sure.
You
yeah.
at least you perceive it that
You
way.
don't want to seem like the young guy.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, you need to stop. You need to make a life change. But that's also, the hardest part is like a lot of people that are in those situations, they're not respecting themselves because of how they're treating themselves. So why would they respect what you're saying?
That's a good point.
And that's what makes it really hard for that. I do agree with the verse. I mean, obviously I agree with it because that's the way I live my life. I mean, I'm a very harsh person. I'm no filter. I mean, I say no filter. I'm no filter to the people I'm comfortable around. I know the people that'll take it in, right?
Yeah, imagine the stuff the filter stops.
I filter. I do
That's
filter a
what
lot.
I tell people. I filter a lot too.
Yeah, I filter a
I
lot.
filter
Well, I filter around
a
people that I'm not
lot.
comfortable around. Like, I'm not going to be like
I
whenever.
filter around the people I love. Honestly.
Yeah, and
To an
yeah,
ex-
for sure, for sure.
And like I said, I usually try to lay it to them softly because I'm honestly coming from a place of love, and I want them to feel that.
Well, and the hard part about the open rebuke is that if I do say something, is it going to just ruin the relationship and they're not going to change anything, or is it going to be better? A lot of times it's just going to make it to where they get mad at you and they don't want to listen, and now they look at you differently. Like you said, you come off as a condescending asshole.
Yeah.
Even though you're coming from a place of love, people that are, say, and I keep going back to addiction because that's the example you gave me, so that's the only thing I can think of right now, we're 4 beers in. But it's hard whenever a person is in such a place where they're blinded by whatever it is they're blinded by. Like, for example, there's a guy that I heard a story about recently. I don't know the guy super well, but we've heard about it. Or I've heard about it that I told you about this on the phone the other day.
This one has been sticking with me.
Guy,
This one hurts bad.
Guy proposed to his girlfriend. They're living in the house together. He walks in on her fucking his best friend. And I guess
which is something that I have dealt with. I didn't walk in on it, but I
Yeah.
have dealt with.
walked in on it, and
I
so
sorry not to cut you off.
based on how the story finishes, I already assume that he doesn't respect himself because he requests to join, and then the best friend says, "Sorry, I don't share." And so the guy goes upstairs, and his girlfriend gets fucked, or his fiance gets fucked by his best friend. Still living together. He pays her bills pretty much. She's dating the other guy. Bought her a car. She wrecked the car. He's paying for all of it still.
A
And
Range
it's like,
Rover.
and it's like so many people are telling him, yeah, not just a car, like $60,000 car.
That shit hurts me, man.
People are telling him like,
to my core. I'm not gonna lie.
you got it. What the fuck are you doing? And he's so blinded by the idea of, maybe it's the idea that he'll be lonely if he leaves, or, you know, he has no respect for himself.
Obviously.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, you tell the person that, and it just in one ear out the other. Now, some people you tell them that and they get fucking mad
at you because they hate the feeling that you caused them.
Yeah. Because it makes them uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
when I see the look on your face.
That hurts. That makes me shrivel up inside. And dude,
Yeah.
that has stuck, since you told me that the other night. That has stuck with me, and
Like,
kind of
the first
almost
time
like in a traumatizing way.
the
because
first time I heard about
I
it-
have felt that.
the first time I heard about it, I was like that. And I've talked about it so much at work and stuff. It's a guy from work. I just spoiled that. But I talk about it so it was brought up so much that now I'm like immune to it. But like the look on your face right now, that is what everyone feels the first time they hear it. And it's like, and the problem is the dude's a good guy, and he's smart, and he's always very happy at work, which makes you worry for him because you see like the Robin Williams type, who's always happy and then they kill herself.
He actually, I mean, you ever heard of autoerotic asphyxiation?
I have. That's you know where I heard that from first? BoJack Horseman. So a show I highly recommend. If you
Isn't that
Yeah,
where
that's
you
how I watched
like you're like hanging yourself as a
Strangling
jerk
yourself,
off?
yeah.
Isn't that
Like
what
the
they say
necktie on the
that?
doorknob.
Isn't that what they say that Chris Cornell
Yeah.
passed away from?
Yeah, that's what they say.
So like, apparently, yeah. Again, like, yeah, I'm not like I'm old fashioned. I be meet the old fashioned way.
I'm traditional myself.
Yeah, but
You don't cup your balls or nothing?
yeah. So
No finger in the ass.
Well, hand her
so like they say, if you are like if your body thinks it's gonna die, you know, and then you have an orgasm, it's like
10 times better.
yeah, no, like I want to say it's like 200 times. Like you feel that sensation that much more.
You ever? I got a question for
And
you,
like-
and I don't want to interrupt. I want you to come back to this, but you ever been like jerking off and you think your parents are gonna walk in? Yeah, it kind of ruins it. So I feel like that would kind of ruin it for me. Thinking I'm gonna die, like fuck.
I've been walked in on.
Oh no, by mom and dad.
Dad.
Oh, okay. At least it was dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna bring this up next time he's on
Well-
the podcast.
Well, I mean, we haven't brought it up since then.
Can I put it?
I haven't talked to him.
Can we bring this up? when
Yeah,
he's on here?
of course.
Okay.
I don't care. He knew it.
Keep going. Keep going.
Most
put it in my
embarrassing
notes.
moment of my life. Hands down.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's the most embarrassing moment.
Because I respect my dad so much.
But dude, you're an animal. Like he gets it.
Well,
That's a good life if that's the most embarrassing.
my dad is.
I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to talk about it with him in the chair, so he could get red as fuck.
I
when
was
bring it
I was
up.
under the covers though, so he didn't see anything, but he knew.
Dude, you bring it up though.
Oh, I'm going to. 100% will. I'll put it in my notes.
Oh, he'll laugh
Because
about it.
honestly,
We'll laugh about it.
Dude, I love that might be if it's not
That
my
just made me
favorite.
so happy.
If it's not my favorite, it's like a really close like top. Like it's a tight top 3. Like dude, I love the one with your dad. Like
My dad is. I honestly,
He's us.
if I'm a father, if I become a father, I hope
you had your mom on too, right?
Not yet.
No.
Say what?
We
Do
haven't
what
had
now?
her on yet.
Have you had your mom yet?
Mm-mm,
Like
not yet.
that. I don't know why I thought that, but oh well.
Yeah. If I do become a father, I hope to be.
But yeah, like you were saying, the autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah. No, like yeah, no, Robin Williams didn't kill I mean he killed himself, but like
That's
Yeah,
what
me
he was
too.
doing?
yeah.
I didn't know that
He
one.
hung
That's why I
himself
don't.
with a belt. Like that's how they do it. They do it over the door handle.
Yeah, the
and
door
they
handle.
kinda-
Yeah.
And like you so you can put all your weight into it and then go down. He wrote about it in a script.
No shit.
Like yeah, I forget but that's how the guy accidentally kills him. Like the son walks in on
Passed
the dad.
out and you're just hanging there.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, like Robin Williams wrote that. So
he
like,
got that fucking nut though.
Maybe.
did he finish?
We hope.
I hope.
Because I'm sure every time he does
nutted
it, he gets
so
a
hard he
little,
went to sleep.
I'm sure every time he does it, you get a little more comfortable, a little more comfortable, a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
And the next
And
thing you
you're
know, you
trying to push
pass
the
out,
boundaries.
and then you fucking are
And all your
there
weight's on your neck.
by yourself, hanging yourself.
So okay, all right. Let me.
Dark.
All right. Before I go to this, all right. Anybody have a thought they want to finish?
No, go ahead. Unless you.
No, the BoJack Horseman thing is just it's funny
Okay.
because one of the actors that he's working with in the show
Yeah.
does that, and then he tries to do it, but he's a horse, so
He's
it's
got a
really
long
hard.
neck.
It's really hard because it's super heavy.
Yeah.
He's super heavy, and and he's like talking to his girlfriend. He's like, "Is there anything?" Like he's like trying to be self-destructive, so his girlfriend cares, and she
Nice.
knows he's just doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's really funny. It's like, "Is there
So-
anything you got
I
a horse
wanna
to
watch
horse?"
that.
So I watched like I fell asleep watching the second episode.
You know, watch the first full season.
Like I could get behind. Like, I could get behind that show.
At the end of the first season, you realize it's not a comedy.
Yeah,
It's not a comedy show, and it feels like it in the first season. You're like, "Oh, this is just dark humor. It's okay." Nah, it's not. It's not funny.
See,
It's
that's
not
the-
a funny show.
That's the way Jim Carrey's that show he made.
Andy,
No,
The Andy Kaufman
yeah,
No.
shit was cool, but I know that's not what you're talking about.
he was like it was a show that he was like a Mr. Rogers show. It was like a kids show, and like
I
he
don't
is
remember
Mr.
that.
Rogers. Like it was super low under radar, but it was on. I think it was on Prime, and
Was it modern or was it like back in the day?
no, it was like a couple years ago.
Ah,
And, like, dude, it
shit.
was-
Jim Carrey doing some modern shit.
It was good, and it got dark
Yeah.
real quick. You're like, dude, this isn't a comedy.
yeah.
Like,
That's how BoJack Horseman is.
it got good.
At the end of the first season, you straight up. I realized I was like, it's maybe the first episode of the second season or the end of the first season. I go, oh fuck!
This is deep.
None of that shit was supposed to be funny.
That's kind of how
None
Bo
of that shit
Burnham
was
Inside
funny.
is. Like,
Exactly.
you start off, you're like, oh, this is funny. This is like fun loving, whatever. It's funny. He's trapped in there. He's like, blah, blah, blah. And by the end of it,
He's suicidal.
you're like, oh, shit. We kind of have all felt like this during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Trapped inside of our own house, dealing with these things. Like, it gets really dark
Talking
quick.
Inside?
Yeah.
Oh, so
It's great. But yeah, so you
So
said before
good.
if we didn't have any other thoughts, that was my
So
what you want to pivot to.
I heard a stat that I'm like, dude, like I've got to ask somebody this, and it just so happens we're here, and
Okay.
you guys. Are
Well,
the
we
first-
know all statistics, so it's the perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's,
like-
it's the perfect place.
Again, for whatever reason, no pun intended, but there's a podcast called I don't know if it's called that, but like they have like at whatever like all on the backdrop, but like I get it on my feed, my YouTube reels a lot, and like
YouTube shorts.
yeah. Oh, sorry. And this person said they threw out a stat, and I've heard it before about like the porn addiction, the feeling you get when someone watches porn is as strong as cocaine but the one they used was fentanyl, and like I just don't.
There's no way.
see it. I don't see it.
There's no way, right?
I mean,
People are addicted, though. People
Do
are like
people-
straight up addicted.
do people cry after they use fentanyl? Sorry.
You watch some dirty shit.
Yeah.
Watch some dirty shit. You're like, God, I feel
In the
terrible.
fucking shower.
X, click out. God.
No, if you can't finish the porn you're watching after you nut, then it's just.
I'm talking about after.
No,
Oh,
I-
after.
Yeah, you're like,
If you
God.
just finish, if you can't
what's wrong
finish
with me?
watching it, then it's probably just.
If you can't finish
you-
watching it, you're probably watching some.
I'm
Fuck
saying,
shit,
like
yeah.
people are willingly doing fentanyl, knowing that it. And I know there's a lot of accidental overdoses.
Yeah.
You know, but people are playing and doing fentanyl, knowing that they're playing Russian roulette with. Is this dose going to kill me?
You know what I mean? You listen to.
But like, it's that strong of addiction, and like if death was on the line for porn, I don't know if anybody would watch.
yeah, I just
porn.
jerk off with my eyes closed,
Yeah.
like a fucking caveman,
Like I'm from
Yeah.
the 1970s.
What
or
the fuck?
Yeah, 1970s.
or the
maybe.
2000s,
Yeah, right?
or a magazine. Like,
Back when it was scrambled porn.
damn,
Yeah.
what
See a
about-
titty. Oh, fuck. About to come. This is just nothing but salt and pepper.
jerk off to the damn light on the ceiling.
You remember the days of the damn.
My days was before then.
I'm sure.
My days was me and my buddy was on. We broke into a sand quarry, and we, we had no
I
intention.
don't know where this is going.
I don't
of
either.
finding what we found, but we Jimmy opened a bulldozer, and inside this closed cab,
Shout out Jimmy.
yeah, inside this closed cab bulldozer was a porno mag.
Nudie Magazine Day, baby.
And like, I think I may have referenced this before in previous podcasts.
I don't know if you have. I don't know. I've never heard the name Jimmy. So,
but yeah.
have you ever been called Jimmy?
Do I?
You ever been called Jimmy?
No.
Your middle name or first name is Jason. Sorry, I was thinking James.
First name's Jason.
Sorry.
First
continue.
name's Jason.
So you go by your middle name too.
I hate it.
Yeah, me too. That sucks, don't it?
I will say, when bill collectors call and they say, "Can I speak to Michael?"
Yes, sir. You can.
Oh, I know what you're calling, but not that I have bill
that's
collectors call
true.
me because my
That's
shit's paid
true.
off.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
when someone says Michael, there's definitely like because I go by Sean. That's my middle name.
Yeah.
Michael's definitely like I kind of know what I'm dealing with here. You know, when someone calls me
That's
that.
true.
But you know what sucks when you have a stuttering problem and you're going through school and they say, Jason? And like, why I didn't just keep the name like why I didn't just like fold to Jason? I don't know. I don't know. But
I folded early.
like
Did you?
day one.
To Michael? You got called Michael a lot?
Could you call me Brent?
I did say Sean a lot, but eventually I kind of turned. I guess not early. I guess I kind of folded late. I guess that's the right way to put it, because I would always say it's Sean, it's Sean, it's Sean, it's Sean, and then eventually it got to where like over the phone it was like John, Bob.
Dude, how do you think it feels about Bryant?
Oh, I know. You say Brian, you just roll with it. Like
If they get Brian, I'm fucking happy.
Right.
Sometimes it's Brad, Brent, Brat. I get all kinds of
You
shit.
should be so lucky.
I could. I would love that. No, yeah. In middle school, whenever the teacher would say Daniel, I think I had a teacher call me Daniel for like a fucking full semester one year. I was like, yes, Daniel. And they just kept calling me that. And
But it is your name.
All my friends were
This
this
is
was
in
in middle
college, right?
school, like 8th grade.
Oh, golly, dude.
And all my friends thought it was hilarious. Like, why do you not just tell her? I was like, because it's kind of funny. I was like,
You just get exhausted of doing it. You just get so
Yeah.
tired of doing
I
it.
was
you're
like,
just
Daniel, yeah,
that's my name.
me.
That's my name.
That's me.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a curse.
But yeah, so Jimmy found the porno mag.
Yeah, Jimmy opened the door.
And yeah, Jimmy
Found-
all over it.
And we took turns. Like, we was like, okay, you keep it, and then we like swap off with it, and like that was
Man,
it.
different
Because like,
times.
trust me, like my dad was, dude, he didn't have a collection. Like everybody talks about their dad. Like, dude, my dad.
Beastie
didn't.
Boys, come on, man.
My dad did.
Your
not have
mom
a
threw
collection.
away your best porno mag.
She actually did.
That was a different era, man. Different era of men. Definitely. And the men before them.
Yeah, if jerking off to porn was gonna kill you, I'd probably stop jerking off to porn. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why.
but the thing
it's
is,
just a thought I had. Like,
jerking off to porn probably doesn't feel nearly as good as fentanyl. There's no way.
yeah, that's
There's no
There's
fucking
no way.
way.
There's no way.
that. Like there's so many
I mean, it
variables
feels pretty
to talk
good,
about there,
but
Like,
not that good, right?
Like,
I mean, Mac Miller wrote songs about. I hope the fentanyl don't make me join the 27
But that was his
club.
addiction, though.
I hope,
Which
I hope the
I'm
fentanyl-
agreeing with you. But
I
like,
hope the fentanyl doesn't make me join the 27 club. He
Addiction
fucking knew.
addiction comes in very different ways, man.
He fucking knew.
I guarantee there's some people out there that are addicted to sex way more than like.
Well, you ever seen Shameless? The first season?
I've seen the first
that
season.
dude that dated Joan Cusack?
Oh, dude, that shit was wild.
Yeah, he was doing some
With
crazy
the
shit.
12-inch black
I was
dildo.
like, yeah, I don't think I like sex as much as that guy. That dude just fuck anything.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It comes in different shapes and sizes, but I agree with both of you. I think that I don't like it that much. I don't think the addiction is that high as far as
Yeah.
sex
Yeah, it's
versus.
crazy. A person like Mac Miller, for instance, that knows. And I'll allude to him because that's just a famous person that
Yeah,
everybody
right.
knows.
Yeah.
But, like, that's what you're saying. There's people that know. They know it's killing them, and they just fucking fuck it,
yeah, like
or
Yeah,
ruining the relationships with their kids, or
yeah.
it's crazy.
Like I said, I had no intentions of living here, for a while. But like, I just wanted to like get someone else's opinion on that because I was there's no way, there's no way it's that
It's
strong.
tough. Yeah.
Damn, Chris Cornell.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
But
People going out like that.
I definitely feel like more people use porn than drugs. So there's that. But
Oh, I wonder.
Oh,
have to. It has to be
absolutely.
like a
It's not
large.
even
Yeah,
close.
it's not even close.
especially now,
Yeah.
especially now,
Yeah, has to be. Yeah,
then it was just having the access. But
yeah. It's probably like 50%
Yeah.
more, maybe even more than that. Damn, never
Yeah.
really thought about it like that.
lot less people probably having sex now too.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. No, I don't know.
I thought there's a lot less people having sex than there was in the
I think so too
70s.
because I think the new generation is very socially awkward
You're right.
and they have a hard
Yeah,
time
exactly.
I would like to see
finding the
that stat.
way,
Like,
especially for men.
that's why we need the
Like,
Neuralink. I want.
let's-
I want these stats. I want this data.
Let's fucking talk about American Pie. There's a movie in the 2000s making fun of people for being virgins in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know why? Because nobody was a fucking virgin in high school in the 2000s.
Because it was so frowned upon then.
Because it was so fucking
The
unlikely.
Chad energy. The Chad energy was
I
so high.
After you graduated, like all the way till senior year, like out of
My
out
wife's
of
the
high
only
school.
person I've been with.
And it was after high school. Okay.
Yeah, that. But like it was I believed. I'm telling you, I was all in on that on my religion. So like I believed open rebuke is better than hidden love. So like, and the shit I thought was right. I look back, I'm like so cringy. I have so many memories in my head of
I'm
like
sure you look back on that, but I
calling
think
people out. Like, dude, you're going like if you in 100 years from now, you'll be burning in hell. Please change. I believed it, and I loved
honestly
them.
cheers to that though.
I kind of appreciate it in a
respect that.
sense. I know you might
Yeah.
look back on it and you've learned from it, so you can kind of
Yeah.
you come from a different angle. But I think that's kind of that mentality is kind of what makes you lose 115 pounds.
Yeah, but like I was so wrong on so many different things that I called people out on. And
Did you listen to the Jeremiah podcast?
No, like I need
That's sad.
reference.
Jeremiah Hutchins.
The religious guy?
Orthodox Christianity.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, you commented.
Yes.
You commented back on it and
Yeah.
said, "Oh, that did make me
Dude,
laugh."
I ate that. I like
Oh, he was a Calvinist. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
no. Yeah, like I loved that, and but yeah, ask me.
Yeah, because you commented, "I want to have a podcast with him without the computer."
Yeah, because you know what? If you ask me what I believe,
What do you?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what I believe.
Tell me what you believe.
I don't have to read it.
So I want to stand up for him.
I know he was.
No,
I know
let
he
me stand up for him.
Yeah.
Half the time he had something like he just had his home screen on his computer. He wasn't even.
And
looking
I
at his
brought this
computer.
up to him, and Brian did say that.
Yeah, he didn't have shit on his computer because I was looking. I was like, man, I thought in the middle of the podcast, I was like, people are gonna look at this and think he's getting all this off the computer. He didn't get like hardly anything off there.
So
It was like a few like quotes and like there was like maybe like 5 times. he
So
used it.
one thing he did use a lot, and like I feel bad because I'm not talking like we're not like I'm not bashing him at all.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
Sorry.
your opinion, man. Go ahead.
You know, but like
You don't have to give disclaimers. You told us that one time.
I
remember?
want
Yeah.
but like
Call back.
I
like that.
respect. You know, like I
No, it's okay.
you know
Jeremiah can handle it. He's
yeah.
he's an
So
adult,
he
I guess.
dude, and it just sounds very supercilious. You know,
Okay.
of me to say. I feel like if I say any more, it's just gonna sound like supercilious is
Let's
the
just
only.
say it anyway. It's okay.
And you hear it so many times. I see so much of myself in him, and like it's not even funny. And like I want to tell him, and like you guys know me, I would say it to be like with a smart ass smirk, but like I would mean it genuinely. But like as you are, I once was, and as I am, you may become. But like, cause the hopping around like of beliefs, finding the niche, and man, like the only thing missing is a girl. That's the only thing missing between my story and his story that kept him tied in.
I would agree with that.
So,
I think
which may make his more genuine because it's the doctrine is calling him.
It's so funny because he's working out pretty hard now.
is he really?
Oh yeah, his diet is fucking good.
I'm
too.
interested to follow that.
His
We'll have to
diet's
have him
good,
back on. Yeah.
He's put on about 3 pounds.
The
in
hardest
last,
part
like,
for me
week
with
or
that
two.
podcast was trying to not be disrespectful with, you know, because I wanted to challenge him a little bit, but also not like come across as like I'm shitting on religion, because I know how personal religion is for people, because like your grandparents, your family raised you and almost kind of like brainwashed you a little bit into believing this thing that is may or may not be true, and it kind of blows my mind that more people don't question it. But I think that the thing from that I got from that podcast was that the things that he perceived as fact all fall under the umbrella of believing in religion. So, like, I kept trying to ask, like, yeah, but like, can you prove it to me? Obviously, you can't. But like, can you like?
But he would say,
but believing is so ingrained in him that like that's not even questioned. So like, he can find the origins of, and he's very well read and studied on the topic, which I do appreciate. I think so were you. Yeah, he studied his lines. So like, I would be like, okay, don't you find it weird that the Catholic Church kind of like worships some man that is appointed and he has like robes and a staff and you're just like glorifying him in a way? And he's like, he gives me the origins of it. And
he's not exactly Catholic though. He's
well, I had actually. This is just like a small. Maybe he's not Catholic, but this was brought up.
He's Orthodox.
Yeah,
this was brought up, and he gives me the origins of a pope, but it didn't really answer my question of like, why are you still like? It is still weird to praise and hold a guy on a pedestal who is really just a human being.
And like, because I could give scripture like Jesus was the last high priest. You shouldn't have any more high priests.
Yeah,
like that's the whole thing about that whole thing is like there are no more high priests, and like they argue that it's not, but it's everything but in the title.
Yeah, it shocks me that so many people just like accept it and don't question it because it's so built in and like it's like generations of like brainwashing and culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, your family, the people you look up to, they believe this. They raised you. They take you to church. This is like what it is. And to push against that is calling those people that you look up to a liar and false, which is hard for people to accept. And I think that really makes your case a little more unique because you've spent so much time studying that and growing up in that. To turn around and say everything I studied and everything that my parents taught me and their parents taught them and the ways they raised me based off of that is kind of a lie.
But see, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I guess I don't necessarily think it's, I mean, maybe it is brainwashing, but I don't know that I think that it is as much because it's something that is comfortable to believe in. It's, if you knew for a fact that if you died and weren't saved, you were going to hell, you'd find a whole lot of comfort in believing that you weren't going to go to hell.
But we don't know.
But you would find a lot of comfort in believing that you weren't.
For sure. And I think some people, they fold to that because of the possibility of going to hell.
Which?
So now we're getting into the philosophy of the root of someone's salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Is it out of fear?
I think a percentage of it is. I think a percentage of it is just manipulation. I think a percentage of it is just people believing.
But see, Solomon, he cured that by saying, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. And so, like, is fearing hell fearing the Lord? Is fearing God's wrath fearing the Lord? And like that's kind of
that's something that kind of gets me.
That's a debate
because saying it's fearing hell, fearing the Lord, and then you say it's fearing God's wrath, fearing the Lord. How is God all loving if His wrath is damning you to hell?
So like you got to think of,
and that's where I'm confused.
You're the most qualified person to answer this question.
And you laugh because this is probably a question you've heard before.
Yeah.
Or a question you've asked yourself.
You've got to think of God as like all in all, everything.
Sure.
Like
God wasn't.
He's neither male nor female.
Yeah, that's right. I want to quote Jeremiah on this, but Jeremiah says, who created God? And he says, a baker baked a cake, but who baked the baker?
But okay. I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna talk about that as well.
But you get how I tied that together, right?
For sure.
So God is everything. So if God is all loving, where's the hate?
The gay people.
Yeah, like
North Korea.
So if you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the Like, where is?
If he's everything, yeah.
And again, this is based off of that doctrine. So now, what created? And now I'm gonna leave Christianity for a second and just talk about a intelligent creator. Like an intelligent designer.
Let's say we'll call him Rick.
That feels we're entering sacred ground here. I don't want to.
We'll call him.
You call the
Jared.
You call it whatever you want to, but we're gonna call it. So
Bill.
If it's before time, then what is? So like this can, okay. It's part of time, right? Like
Sure.
Eventually it will
degrade.
It's aluminum, so it's going to take a while, but it will degrade.
Right.
But because it's part of time, and the main what is the ingredients of time? The two main ingredients of time is a beginning
And then?
and an end, because it's part of time. If you are outside of time, you do not have a beginning. You do not have an end. There's no need. But there is no beginning.
And I appreciate Jeremiah's knowledge on what he believes in, but I think that like what he didn't answer in that podcast was that, if you believe everything he is saying is logical, but there was nothing in that podcast that convinced me that there was a higher power. It convinced me that he knew what he was talking about as far as under that umbrella of believing, but outside of that umbrella, there was nothing that he could really say. Because I would ask, like, okay, well then, like, I feel like he doesn't really question whether or not he believes it. He just kind of takes it as fact.
But see, he shit on the
Very knowledgeable guy, though. I don't want to seem like I'm shitting on him. I really appreciated the comment, and I want to have him back.
He
But
shit on the
Orthodox
Calvinist.
is the same shit.
But the Calvinist has an answer for that.
But don't all those like sub-religions kind of shit on each other? It's like, no. All that shit's bullshit, but my sub-religion is legit.
Well, it's...
Mormonism does
I wanna
this.
go back to,
all these things do this.
I want to go back to God being outside of time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that if you were to believe that, which I'm not exactly sure where your beliefs are now. I mean, we hadn't really talked in a while, so and especially about that. I think the last podcast, I don't think we talked about any religion. But God being outside of time, are there multiple timelines? Are there multiple?
Now you're getting into like parallel universes, and
because if that's the case, do you think God would make one and stop? If you were God and you were outside of time, would you make one timeline and that's it? But you're forever.
No.
You are forever. You're all seeing, all knowing. Would you make one timeline and stop?
So,
absolutely not. You know how boring that would get?
Yeah.
So,
however, God doesn't feel boredom probably.
My son, he was just laughing, like he's got an interesting humor, but he was just laughing. And I'm like, dude, what is so funny? And he was like, have you ever thought that, like, I mean, this is like, oh, sorry,
there you go.
You got to do the Joe Rogan fist.
That's true.
Yeah. That's what he does.
It's closer than a fist. It's fist if you have a good mic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make out with this bitch.
No, my son, he's got an interesting personality. So he said, he's busting out laughing. I'm like, dude, spill the beans.
Yeah, why are you laughing?
I want to laugh.
Come on now, like I got to get some of this. That's some good stuff.
Nah.
Let me in. He's just laughing. He's like, what if the black holes are us in the future, like not existing anymore? And I'm like,
The look on your face.
I'm like,
that wasn't funny at all, man. What the fuck?
Black holes are weird, man.
I was like, dude, I don't. He was like, 'cause light can't escape it. Time probably can't.
How old's your son?
They still can't explain black
10.
holes.
No, he was like 8 when he said this. I'm like,
He gets that deep thinking shit from you.
I don't.
You
I
can't
don't want
answer
to think.
that.
I don't want to think about this right
Take
now.
this back.
A black hole.
Can we go back in time and me not ask you what you were laughing at?
So yeah,
Damn.
Can we put that in the black hole?
Jesus
So
Christ.
obviously, how it is, you plant the seed. I've been thinking about it.
Okay.
So, like,
What if black holes were the darkest thing you could imagine?
what if how we interpret time? What if it's already happened? But like we interpret time, we feel time differently because we move so slow. So like the bee is gonna see the world differently because it's so fast. The
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill looks at the world looks at a football field a little different
For
Probably does. Like this.
because he's so fast.
He looks at it like this.
No,
What Go ahead.
but like that's the whole Einstein's theory of relativity, like the speed, like if you go fast, like
You're in the same place, like technically all at the same time.
yeah, but like you can go in the future if you go fast enough.
One of the
Because-
weirdest things for me, and I don't know, maybe I'm a person who tries to find meaning in the smallest places, which I do tend to do, is that at a very early age, and I'm talking second grade, this is the earliest I can remember it. I remember, and Bryant knows this story. I don't know if you do. You've listened to the early podcasts, so you probably have heard it. I remember my sister, I had a very early attraction to Heather, my wife. At an early age, I'm talking first, second grade. My sister wrote a love letter for me to her, and I was too nervous to give it to her. Never gave it to her. I was too nervous to ever say anything up until middle school. But the fact that I had such a early fondness of her almost felt like there was something in my DNA that kind of like naturally drew me to her. And like I said, maybe I'm making something out of nothing, but maybe there's something there that maybe we live the same life over and over again till we get it right. Maybe we live the same life over and over again till fucking eternity. Maybe there's parallel universes. Maybe there's something there, but it was just weird to and maybe it's coincidence, but that still sticks with me to this day. The fact that like at an early age, I just had this attraction to Heather, and then it just becomes true. Like maybe I have lived this. Maybe that's what deja vu is. Maybe that's deja vu is you've visioned this in a past life, and the older you get, the possibility of that happening is fewer and fewer. And you get deja vu less and less the older you get. And maybe that's why I've had that fondness of hers, because I've lived so many lives with her. That's such a high possibility. And that when I'm in that early age, I'm like, because I've lived past lives with her and have created so many fond and amazing memories with her, that when I start that new life,
You already have an attraction.
I already have a natural attraction to her. And I know that sounds a little cooped out. I know it sounds a little far-fetched. But it's just a little unsettling to me. Because, I don't know, I'm a person who kind of bases things off logic. And
that's pre-puberty, so that's an important variable.
yeah.
It is.
It's
It
just
is for
something
sure.
that has always stuck with me.
In
Where
my
I'm
mind,
like,
the first thing I go
I
to
don't know.
is that, like they say, most women are attracted to men that are like their dad, and most men are attracted to women that are like their mom.
their mother,
Yeah.
yes.
Which Heather, has a lot of.
me and
similar
Brad
resemblances.
have a lot of similarities.
Me and Robert have a lot of similarities.
Exactly. And maybe there's something to be said about that. But it's just something that I can't really put my finger on, but something
you ain't
that
half the man Brad Brooks is.
hey, I can only aspire to be. I can only
OBX,
that is
shout out
that is
OBX Wild Stallion.
shout out
Brad.
to Brad Brooks.
Listen,
Shout out to Wild
I can only
Stallion.
aspire to be. And
I love that guy.
I love that guy
I'm sorry.
too.
Yeah,
He
legend.
is honestly, he is the reason why, and my dad too, is the reason why Heather and I have such a phenomenal relationship, because she takes so much from him and I take so much from my dad, and I see so much of me in her father, and I think that's why we click so well.
But he was a successful quarterback in high school.
Brad was?
How's that make
Really?
you feel?
How's that make you feel?
You know, good for him.
He was a successful quarterback in flag football on the field.
I was a successful quarterback in the backyard.
You could have been though. Like, I could.
They would have won state to put him in.
You had the mind.
I would have won state. No. And I just didn't have the guts back then to stick up for myself, and have I didn't have confidence back then, and mixed with terrible coaching, kind of.
Okay, I thought we were talking about Heather.
Yeah, I thought we were too.
No, I'm just talking about as far as
I thought
the quarterback, but I'm not trying to get down that road. But yeah, I just always there's something about that has always there's something there. There's something there. Maybe I'm making more of it than there really is. Maybe it was just coincidence that, you know, I was just attracted to her at an early age because of her personality. I didn't really know her like that, you know. I just was naturally attracted.
I like that person.
I was like, yeah, she's, you know, in my eyes, she's very pretty. There's something that's very wholesome. That's very, I don't know. I see myself getting along with her very well. You know, even up into middle school. I'm talking about up until I had my first love. And even if she would have asked me during the time I had my first love, I probably would have been like...
It would have been heavy on you.
It would have been heavy on me. And because I'm stubborn and because I'm a very, like, a loyal person,
yeah,
I probably wouldn't have went that direction. But
it probably would have caused a problem in your relationship because you would have been 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
I mean, I was in a relationship when Heather and I initially were talking about going on a date.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, I was talking to my buddy Liberty, who's been on the podcast, and I was like,
shout out.
I was like, man, I'm kind of in a relationship. I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy to like run around on women.
It was a good decision, obviously, but
and the girl that I was with was a very nice person. We were just two different people.
Very,
and a part of me wanted to trail that out and see where it went, because I believed that, you know, I could make it right or whatever. And I knew that girl was a good woman, but you know, something told me that day, like, hey, go on that date, because of those past feelings and those past attractions. And then here we are. It's just kind of I don't know. It's always stuck with me.
Well,
I think you know, part of me thinks that there's a little something there, but maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you say maybe you're crazy, but I'm sure people thought the person who discovered that gravity moved at 9.8 meters per second squared was crazy too.
Right.
Turns out he was fucking right.
I mean, I appreciate you put me in the same sentence as the people who discovered that, but
but hey, you know.
But
I mean,
yeah, I don't know, man. I think that
you don't come up, you don't discover things without
the fact that we're a spinning sphere in space is weird enough.
I mean, the fact that we have little fucking plastic and metal devices that we can touch and titties come up on it.
I mean,
crazy,
life
right?
in general is weird. We don't question it enough, you know. And so many people are quick to bend to and kneel to religion because of, like I said, the culture, the brainwashing, the appreciation they have for their people before them, you know, because we all look up to the people, because those people, they teach us who we are. And to call them a liar when you appreciate them is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Which is why I appreciate what you've done.
Which I think I want to kind of go back to what you say about balance. You say it all the time, you know, you got to have balance, you got to have balance.
I really believe in that.
I think you have to also have balance about the way you perceive people. Like, I can't
Totally
look at
agree.
you and
It's
say
across
you're
everything.
you're not a perfect man.
Of course.
If I look at like my grandpa or, you know, whoever the hell we're talking about, you know, like, or like Jeremiah looks at his grandparents. Obviously, they're not perfect people. And you can't look at them as if they are.
They're doing the best they can, man.
You can't look at them as if they are, but you can't judge them for the bad.
For sure.
But you can't judge. Maybe you can't judge them for the good. You can take the good with a grain of salt.
Depends on what
you
the
take
bad
with
is,
a
I
grain of
guess.
salt. Yeah. And so, like, I think there's you know, it goes both ways. I guess you have to weigh that out, but I think there's definitely a balance in as far as perception and the way you look at a person and, you know, you judge a person and what you take from a person. You can't think that a person was all just a fucking amazing guy. You can't think, or amazing woman like this. Nobody's ever perfect.
Yeah.
So.
Certain situations call for certain things, I guess.
So do you think it's like a Matrix kind of thing?
I'm not saying that I believe in the simulation theory. I know it's goofy.
Well, what do you believe?
I mean, honestly, like, I don't know if
How about we take a piss break and you ponder that and come back?
No,
to it?
I mean, I could unload it, but it's heavy.
Let's take a piss break and come back to it. I want to
Okay.
I want to have a beer for this. We'll be back, guys.
Okay.
Cheers. We back.
But what were you guys saying?
We're talking about. So, what are your beliefs, Brent? We were kind of getting into that.
You
and
know, I had
said it's a can of worms.
I had somebody ask me that the other day who listened to the podcast. They were like, and I was kind of bragging on you, talking about, basically what I was saying earlier of how you had a complete 180 of you grew up in that household, you studied it, you went to college for it, you dedicated almost a certain percentage of your life to it, and then was like, you know what? I don't believe in this anymore. Like, I had a guy go, what does he believe in then? I was like, honestly, I don't know. But I guess that's what Bryant's asking is like, where are you at with while we're here?
J.I. Packer said, what comes to your mind when you, and I'm paraphrasing, but what comes to your mind when you think about God is the most important thing about that person, and the most important thing you can think about.
I guess it explains their mindset a little bit and who they are, I guess.
Yeah, because like it's such a, to me, it's such an important question. It is. And I mean, it's sacred territory to the point where like so sacred, like the inner, it's almost private, almost, but like, I'm not ashamed of my belief. I just don't want to be tied down to a soundbite where, remember you said that you believe that, because
Dude,
it changes.
there's been so many
like,
stupid shit I've said on here that people can just pull and go. Sometimes people come up to me and be like, oh, you said that. I'm like, I fucking said that. It's kind of crazy. Like.
Yeah, I guess I see what you mean, though.
Yeah, so what I'm about to say,
Disclaimer.
it is a disclaimer, but this is where you need a disclaimer, in my opinion. Like, it's near and dear to my heart, and like it's like I didn't read this. This is after much thought. And just quiet time, meditation, prayer, like a lot. And so, since I've done the hard work, let me go ahead and tell you what it is, so you guys can just scoff at it. No, I'm just kidding. So you've got to think there's so many different things to consider when you're talking about the Creator, right? So first you have to think about the world we live in. What makes up our world? It's, life makes our world interesting. It just is. Now, we're biased about human life over all other types of life, and I'm not, this isn't a vegan thing at all. Like, it's just, like, I feel
Shout
like
out.
we view, human life as, like, superior,
For sure. Top of the food chain.
We are on land.
Fair.
Yeah.
There's dolphins.
Yeah. Like, I believe we did evolve. We learned very early on that for us to survive, we had to get out of the water. And I do believe I do believe in Darwin's theory of evolution. Maybe not 100%, but there's definitely something there. Like things do evolve. Like you see it. Like when it comes to, and I know it sounds like I'm going on a tangent, but we're talking about the theory of everything
Mm-hmm.
here. So the golden python the golden viper on the Snake Island. You know, it's all the snake, or not just that snake, but all the snakes on that island share the same species as the other snakes on the mainland, but their venom is more potent. Well, why? Because, and it's called Snake Island, it's more potent because the only food they have to eat is birds. So they have to strike, and that venom has to react almost instantly. So that's why, they're. I mean, that is the biggest proof of evolution. You have the same species of snakes, but just because they're locked on this island, their venom has evolved.
That's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah. So, and like, it can be microevolution, you know. And now we're talking a span of, billions of years. I definitely believe I'm not a young earther. You know, we know that how fast the light travels. You know, like to get the light from the stars with how far they are, how far we know they are based on the technology. For the light from the stars that we see, it has to be at least, because this light is going the speed of light.
Incredibly fast.
Yeah. And it is thousands and thousands of light years away. So for us to even see the light is proof that we're at least that old.
Right.
You know.
That's fair.
So when I believe that God is and like saying everything is kind of cheesy, but like I believe he is, or I don't even throw a gender on it, but it just
They, them.
Say them.
it's no,
Sorry.
yeah, that's probably honestly more.
For
accurate.
real, yeah.
But like
It's probably genderless, honestly.
Right.
Non-binary.
Yeah.
I feel it is a
Sorry.
an energy. It's the best way I can comprehend it, that pulsates and moves in a wave and gives fuel to the life and the cycle that you see, but it's so powerful that it brings death, because you're in you're in maintenance. So you understand when if you put too much power to something, it's gonna blow it. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow
Right.
out. Like it is and that's why you see death. But then the death comes and it pulsates out. But it's the heartbeat of what makes everything in that we see in our world work. Gravity, light. But like it's almost like each thing has its own ingredients, and this is the fuel that pushes that, and it almost pulsates. It's not. It doesn't require love. It doesn't require attention. But it just is. And I believe that Jesus knew this, but you can't explain something like this
to the common man.
To the common man, and you see it when you read all the sacred text. But because the sacred text is written by man, it comes through the filter. You're gonna of man.
That's what David Cross said. The Bible has been throughout the years changed, manipulated, kings have
But it's not just
changed the word of it.
David Cross is the guy from Scary Movie, right?
Yeah.
And Alvin the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
I mean, not a credible
Just checking.
source, but I think that what he had to say was, honestly, there's some truth to it. I think that people who have conquered have changed the wording of the Bible and interpreted it in their own way, and it's been rewritten how many times? You probably know more than me.
It's more accurate than any old text we have, except for maybe the any of the Vedic texts, the Mahabharata, Bhagavad. That's Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata. But yeah, like I would just say Vedic texts. Because we don't know the origin. As far as how old it is, but it has more credence than any of Shakespeare's writings, any of Plato's. Let's take back to Shakespeare. Okay, I'm not quite sure, but like it has more credence than Plato's based on because you got the original text, like the original letter, then you have when it was copied. So that has more ties to the original, the scripture as we know it, than Plato's work or Marcus Aurelius's work. We don't question whether or not Meditations was real or not. But then again, you don't see people using the Meditations to fight wars and stuff like that.
But also in Meditations, you're not seeing stuff like this man parted the Red Sea and walked on water. Like it almost seems like a fantasy novel in a sense. A man called all these different genders of animals to this, and we all know there was a great flood because every culture has a story of the Great Flood.
Yeah, but and then you got the cultures. So like, imagine if we had a filter, and I'm pouring this water, like it's the same water, and this is the God is what I'm saying, and you had everything that has like a filter based on the ingredients that makes like it's made up of, like the sun, planets, matter, a human. Childbirth. So like childbirth would be the ingredients. Like if all the ingredients are there and the timing's right, that it would bring forth life. You have sperm in the egg, but like it gives it would even give fuel to the sperm, But like you pour the water through the filter, and like depending on what is in that filter, that water's going to look different.
Yeah, I can
Coffee
see that.
grounds.
Yeah.
So, but like from a religion, from a religious aspect, there's a need to serve something. There's a need to believe in something.
There's a sense of like belonging and why are we here? And it's so ingrained in us, I feel like.
So like with that need comes, that's where you see, because you have to answer so many questions whenever you're talking about this, because there's so many questions to be asked. Like, well, what religion's right? Either they're all right, all wrong. One's right. Which one's the oldest? Which one's the youngest? Like, is the oldest right? So,
what's your answer to that?
It's kind of what I'm telling you. Like,
they
depending
all
on
come
where
from
you
one
were,
water.
yeah, it's one source. It looks different based on the ingredients.
So they're all right.
It's not about being right or wrong. It's just about existing.
It's not about being right or left. It's about being right and wrong.
They just are. Like, that's
okay.
That, so like nobody's right or wrong. It just is. So like it's sunlight because the sun, that energy, that water, that kind of pushes through that, gives power to that. Like, is sunlight right or wrong? It just is.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So like I think it's so much bigger than what we think.
So what you're saying is that all these religions are trying to, or obviously the religions aren't trying to point us into one central direction, but in a sense, that's what's happening. Is that all the religions are tied in from one thing? They're all tied in from that water that's poured through the filter.
Yeah, and like so when you have that knowledge and you think about like happiness and sadness, like everything can be put into that. What are the ingredients of sadness?
So what is the water?
Well, see that that's
Is
what,
that like I know you said you referred to the water as God before.
I feel like that. I feel like we. And I feel like every I can't say every man, but I feel like enough people across the globe, like humans, have evolved almost a sixth sense. You know, like whether it be discernment or like where they can sense the that energy, the water.
The water.
Yeah, so they, and I feel like everything yearns for it, like has a yearning for it, like because what's the greatest master is the one whose servants serve it willingly, or like serve it without even realizing they serve. You know, like
it's not a chore to them.
Yeah, a rock is doing it. A rock is serving them by existing,
Being the rock.
just being a rock.
The weight. All of it.
Yeah, like, you know, and then you could get in detail, like a geologist could go into more detail about
the rock or
ingredients of a rock.
Yeah.
You know, what makes a rock special. You know, but then you got the tree. You know, the tree grows, but like I said, it's such an overwhelming power that it can't be contained. So it based on the ingredients that are there, it's gonna bring it back down because we're not of that energy. So does anything really die? You know, because it's just a constant cycle.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the theory of no energy or matter is created. It's just, it's not destroyed or created. It's always here.
Yeah, like what put that? You know,
Yeah.
like
I guess where what my biggest question is where did this knowledge come from? What poured the water? You know, if water is the knowledge, say God is holding the bottle.
That's
God
where
pours
I was
this water.
That's where I was at.
How does this water get into the filter?
So, first off, remember what I said a while back. Like, it's that water is not bound by time, so it doesn't have a beginning or an end.
Sure.
We can't escape that. We can't escape that. That boundary, you know.
Okay.
You know, because time is a prison to us.
Right.
And like it is a true prison to us, meaning we can't even comprehend what it's like to be outside of that. So in our prison, it doesn't make any sense that something doesn't have a beginning. But if you're not a part of that prison, you don't have it. You just don't have a beginning. You just exist. You just are, and you just are. Like, but I will tell you that in a material world, nothing can never exist. And I mean, that's just if you really think about it. Like,
yeah, because there's always like we just said, energy is neither created nor destroyed. Yeah. It just exists. It's here.
Yeah. Like,
there's a finite amount of energy in the world, and it will never change. That number will never change, according to, physics. And I mean, even like that's like the book of law is that energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Yeah, and when you have that mindset and you start looking at things like that, it really changes your perspective on what everything is. Like how do I become happy? Well, you have to change the ingredients. Like what are the ingredients of happiness? Because the what are the ingredients of a happy person? Like you can break it down like that. Like, what does that look like? Well, I want to run 100 miles. Well, what does the ingredients of somebody that can run 100 miles look like? I want to be a good chess player. What do the ingredients? Because that energy it's going to be there. It's reliable. It's going to be there, and it's going to produce whatever ingredients are there because that constant presence just is.
So, do you think that, there's instances in the Bible where people say, "Oh, I talk to God, and that's how I have this knowledge. That's where I got this information from, and why I wrote it down." And that's a lot of that is what's in the Bible. We'll use Moses as an example with the burning bush. That's one example, right? Mm-hmm. But do you think that God is directly talking to these people, or do you think that's just intuition, or do you think that's something they had felt that they had never felt before? Do you think that is a legit a person speaking to God?
So I think the ingredients were there to receive something different than most people perceive it. What does the ingredients of someone who thinks they can hear God look like?
I guess a man who wants to save his people from slavery.
Yeah, that would be desperation. I mean, yeah, desperation may be part of that ingredient. I don't know what those ingredients are, but that's where you've got to go into your quiet place and whatever it is and really examine. But this is that's my view of God, and I feel like based on that view, I can shape a world view. I can explain almost everything with that view.
I used to wonder what kind of people fall for cults. I used to wonder that, maybe it's vulnerable people, maybe it's people who are looking for a sense of belonging, but the more I talk to people and, watch people, the more I realize that it's probably about 75% of people that under the right circumstance, they'd probably fall for a cult. The people who were giving in to materialistic social norms or whatever, people who are, people who are given to trendy things, a lot of people who are just really following the basic norm. And I think that's a lot of what religion brings. And I know I'm very critical on religion, and I want to be clear here. I think that there's a lot of I always like to use Anne Margaret as an example, because I think that if the whole world was like Anne Margaret, this place would be a beautiful place. And that's one of the most religious persons I know. But I also think that religion has created a lot of followers naturally. And it bothers me that more people don't question it. Christianity has won in a sense because, it's before Christ, it's after Christ, it's, everything is kind of based off of Christianity. And that kind of shows you how many people don't question it and how many followers there are. And it kind of bothers me that most people don't question it, because I think that maybe we could find the answer if 70% of the people weren't, just kind of passively going with the daily, even though the people who are kind of shitty people who on social media they betray to be very religious.
Sure.
Because they feel like it's the right thing to do, and when they post about it, it makes them feel better. I don't know, man. I feel like the majority should be people questioning why we're here. Because what we're doing right now is fucking weird in itself. Being this body of, you know, a spinning sphere in space. You know, what's beyond all these galaxies that they say that's out there, and it's a never-ending, you know, is a parallel universe legit? Is it not? Like, there's so many different possibilities. You ask the, you know, most scientists would say off of probability theory, if they had to put money down, they would bet on simulation theory being legit. I don't necessarily I know I bring it up a lot on this podcast because I think it's fun to talk about, honestly. I think it's good content. And I think a little bit of me thinks that there might be something there, but there might be something there with, you know, blue-eyed, long-haired white Jesus from the Middle East. You know, there might be something there. Who knows? But I don't know. It really bothers me that more people are so willing to submit to what is being kind of fed to them instead of like being their own person, being their own man, and kind of questioning that. And we're kind of fed that at an early age and I think that's why that, you know, I think that, you know, 70% of us or whatever, that's why Christianity won. You know, there is a little bit of brainwashing going on, you know, and there's definitely a negative connotation coming to brainwashing because it sounds like you're just like taking advantage of someone. But I think that, you know, these people really believe in these things, and you can honestly live by religion and live a great, honorable life if you live it true, you know, and be an amazing person. I knock it a lot, and I said Anne Margaret is one of the most pure souls I've ever met. I wish everyone was like her. When I'm around her, I feel like I want to better myself. You know, I feel like there's a better person I could be because this person is really just a good-hearted person. But I feel like most people just like, there's so much going on in their daily routine that they'd never question it. And the people they look up to, they never question them. It's been fed to them at an early age. It's all they know. You know? I don't know. It bothers me that questioning it isn't the norm versus, you know, the fantasy novel kind of winning over and taking control. Because there is a lot of structure in religion. There's a lot of law and order. There's a lot of like what to do, what not to do. If you live by religion, you can live an honorable life. Like I said, I think that there is a cult aspect to it, and I think that like I said, I used to wonder what kind of people would fall for a cult, but in a way, like 70% of people, or whatever the amount of people who are believing in religion, those people have those tendencies. I'm not saying it's false. I'm just saying that it should be questioned because we truly don't know. You know? We really don't know. And I think there's a lot of followers out there more than leaders. And I think leaders have the tendency of finding their own way, you know, questioning what is, what isn't. And most people they got a 9-to-5, they got kids. They're trying to raise their kids the right way. Religion can show you that way. Religion can show you how to teach your kids the honorable way, the right way. Religion can show you how to, and everybody picks and chooses what to believe from religion. You know, you can, you know, religion, a lot of people like to shit on gay people, you know, from religion. And it's like, I mean, this is just another human being, you know. They have their desires just like you do.
Maybe some gay people like to be shit on.
Some people probably do. Some straight people probably like being shit on.
I think one thing I want to add to what you said is that the only problem I see with forcing religion onto your kid, and not as maybe you didn't really refer to forcing religion.
I don't think they're
you
like
didn't refer
forcing.
To
I think they're like naturally just trying to educate their kids. But
I think, like you said, Brent, earlier, how in high school you were, you know, that guy that was like, if you don't, in 100 years from now, you're going to be burning in hell. And that's something that is hard for sure as a young person to take in, especially if you do eventually start to believe the way that you believe. And I think I'm not as harsh as you are about it. But I think whenever you do believe that way, it definitely makes you hold some kind of resentment towards your family. I thought you see that a lot.
I could see that.
With people that move away from religion. But I definitely get, and I don't like the use of the word brainwash. And I know you said
It's
this has a
definitely negative
connotation.
because I think that
It-
most
it-
people that are quote unquote, to use it again, brainwashing their kids, they're not, because brainwashing comes like manipulation comes with brainwash.
It's called indoctrination.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really believe what you're preaching. Like
right.
these people really believe what they're preaching, and I think that at an early age you like really embed those things into your kid at an early age, and then when they get older, they just take it as the gospel. They take it as Bible. They take it as this is the right way to live, and they see their parents be successful that way. They see their their great grandparents, their grandparents be successful that way. And it's honestly a way of life that you can live and be successful.
If so we were talking about, being surrounded. If God is everything, and it is outside of it. I think that's the best probably to refer to God as. I mean, maybe you could say He, because Jesus was a He.
Well, in my view, but see, Jesus wasn't God.
But they say
Like,
in Christianity, Jesus is God.
Yeah. In
So He
Christianity,
is fair, I guess. But
Right.
whatever. Regardless, we know what we're
I
saying.
see what you're saying.
God is.
Well, I'm not like okay.
I got you. I'm following. You're not referring
I'm
to
not-
Christianity, but I am.
Yeah.
in
I'm
my
not
sense, but
saying.
yes, I got you. We're
Yeah.
God is. If
I
God
wasn't
is
talking about
everything-
Jesus whenever I was talking about like the like because
That's right.
That's a physical.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like with God being everything, and it's surrounded. We talked about the idea of what allowed the water to be spilled into the filter, or whatever. What allowed these people to hear, messages from God, or so they thought, or maybe it was, whatever. In my mind, I feel like that's probably like an intuition, like a presence that you feel, because God is everywhere. God is outside of time. It's something that we can't escape, like you said. And so it makes you wonder why the scientists that are trying to actively go against religion, they have to feel some kind of presence from that, right?
I think so. I honestly believe that, because
If it's
I
real.
think that if you should question religion, you should question the scientists should question, whatever they believe in itself, because we honestly, like I said, we truly don't know. So I think there is something to be said about scientists need to, question themselves and in that aspect.
What are your thoughts on that?
What on the scientist?
Or just the presence in general? Do you think that the presence of God is felt by everyone, if God is real? Which, in your belief, God is real, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, there's a
Yeah.
creator, and if you're referring to that
Yeah.
as God, then
I
sure.
believe in a
Yeah.
creator.
yeah, because we live in a material world. Like
Something had to make
Yeah,
us.
I believe in a creator for sure.
yeah, so like before material, like what was it? And I think of like, so when I think of, so there had to be let's take of it like a color, like a color wheel, all the different colors. But like all the different colors can be broken down into 3 primary colors.
Red, green, and blue.
Yeah, I think so. Is that it? No, it's red, blue, yellow.
I think it's red, green, blue,
I
right?
think it's green.
Maybe.
No, blue and yellow make green. So
Sure.
it's red, blue, yellow.
Okay.
Yeah, so what are the primal ingredients of our of life that you see? And it's getting kind of heavy and deep.
For sure.
But so I guess to help guide you, think of like Darwinism, like the survival of the fittest, like what are the ingredients that would drive, like where there's very little, like a single cell organism, where there's nothing else but just one, maybe a thought, maybe a neuron, what's the primary colors of our species and like how we feel. And I think you get to, and we kind of demonize some of those ingredients.
How's that?
Because I mean, I've thought about this a lot.
Okay.
So, like, what do you guys think some of the primary, like just off the top of your head, like think about it for just a second. Like, what do you think some of the primary ingredients or emotions before we were who we were? You know, and like what you see is what you see. Like, what was when there was only one ingredient? What was the primary ingredients of this material world?
I feel like there's 7 of them. It's the 7 deadly sins, right? You
That's
got,
fair, yeah.
Yeah, lust,
See that?
greed, pride, gluttony, right? I mean, I feel like that. I feel like that would leave one out though. Love. I mean, love is definitely a very prime emotion.
Oh, it's powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
Because
fuels a lot.
because of those ingredients, like there were 7 that we have deemed bad.
Right. And so there's got to be at least 7 that are happy or good, right? Happiness, love. I mean, love has got to be a fuel for a lot of the good ones.
Well, I mean, we might as well go to the Bible. So,
I mean,
I believe it's
Don't sound so disappointed.
Is the Bible the greatest piece of literature?
The greatest fantasy novel of all time.
it is. It's definitely the most influential,
Oh, for sure.
and that can't be argued.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Christianity
is it
won.
the
We talked about it
greatest?
earlier.
It's. I don't think anything. There's been more time put into any other work of art when it comes to text, except now the Vedic text gets an asterisk because like there's so much.
I'm not familiar with the Vedic text.
So that's the South Asian. That's the
Pangea.
well, what we would call Hinduism. That would be their sacred text.
Okay.
You know,
Not Pangea.
yeah, there was. I want that. I want that sacred text.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But that was. But anyway, it's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, temperance, self-control.
I feel like a lot of that does come from love.
Yeah, and that's just going by what we saw was good, and then you said 7 deadly sins is what we saw was bad. Now, what I'm saying is, were those the primary ingredients? Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, but I definitely think they're definitely ingredients. You know, are there bad ingredients? I think they're. You know, like I don't. That's not for me to say. You know, but one thing I can say is that when you add more, I will say comparing it to ingredients definitely helps explain it.
Sure.
But like love, if you add more love to someone's life, it makes it a little bit better. It makes it taste better. Like
For sure.
Yeah.
you substitute sugar in that.
What if you add
but you need salt.
What if like a belt
can't have too
hanging
much
from the
sugar.
doorknob?
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
That's sweet. That's sweet and salty.
What ingredient? No. But so, what are the primary ingredients? Like, I think when you have one thing, it's you want more. Like, or maybe is it loneliness? Is it like, I don't want to die? Like, what is it? Like
It's kind of
that's kind of the stuff I think about.
That's kind of weird too that we talk about like the stories in the Bible, and I mean Moses was said to live to 120 years old after wandering in the desert for 40 years.
You can pull up, and I've done it before. You can pull up the 10 craziest stories in the Bible. It's very fantasy novel esque.
I mean, yeah, like you think like Methuselah, and like
Yeah, dude, 100
20's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah,
But 120 is still insane. 120 living to 120 today is insane. But to do that in, that kind of time where you're wandering the desert for 40 years. I mean, he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights.
One thing I do love
in the Bible, that is.
like who?
Moses.
No. That was Jesus.
That was Jesus. I thought
Yeah.
Moses also fasted to be like Jesus. I could be wrong on that.
I
I thought that was a part of the story too. Because that's when he saw the burning bush when he was fasting.
like he definitely did go through a period of
Maybe it wasn't 40 days.
it may have been but one thing man damn it, well,
Sorry.
oh no, like people think about Moses and guys like Abraham, you know, and like Christianity really doesn't do them justice, because guys like Joshua, you know, marching around the walls of Jericho. These were the ancestors of Jews, and like the core of who they are. Imagine a group of people that would go to any city, village, or whatever and say, "And we're killing all the men. We're killing all the women unless you're a virgin. We're taking everything you own." And sometimes they would even burn the livestock. And they did that everywhere they went.
Who was
These were some bad motherfuckers.
who was the guy in the
And, like-
Bible where Jesus was like, "Murder your kids"? No, I'm just playing.
Job.
Why isn't that not talked about? We like to pick and
Is
choose
that
what we
murder your
believe.
sheep and told him to murder.
Yeah, we like to pick and
No,
choose
no,
what we
no.
believe in the
It
Bible.
wasn't Job.
But like, there's
Job-
some wild shit in that motherfucker. That's some fucking crazy shit. That there was a God who
No.
said, "Murder your kids." Now we're just playing when you go to do it.
Oh yeah, that was Abraham. So Abraham was promised a son, and was promised a son to Sarah. And Sarah was in her 90s, and she laughed, and she was like, "You don't mean me, God. You must be mistaken." So she gave her maidservant to Abraham. That wasn't what God promised. God said, through you, Sarah, and that was going to be Isaac. So, but God said, the firstborn is going to be kind of the chosen one, for lack of a better term. And so their lack of faith, because she didn't act on it, she gave Hagar. Hagar was her maidservant. And, duty's tough. Sometimes you got to lay with the younger woman,
So
bummer.
tough.
Sometimes if the Lord tells you to do it,
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
So you're saying that God said these things, and that's once again goes back to my question is
In this interpretation.
okay. So this is not what.
So it can go weirder and deeper. Like when you really think about the ingredients, like you can create whatever world you want.
But
People pick and
how
choose,
was
man.
this message given? Like how were these thoughts given? Like
An angel of the Lord.
an angel of the Lord. So you think
Yeah.
it was a presence? You think it was someone talking to him directly?
No, in this particular story, it was it was a physical being. So, because they knew, like, when you go to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, like they wanted to break down the door, and Lot was like, "Lay with my virgin daughters, leave these men alone." And the angels had to blind them to escape there, to escape from being sodomized. And because he, Lot and it was Abraham and God. This was a one-on-one conversation. But no man. There's only two accounts where people saw God, the Father. That was Moses. He saw the backside of God, and then John in Revelation. So he sees the front.
Well, and so my question, another question
But-
I have is, go ahead.
No, because this is a funny tie-in that a lot of people don't realize is that because they disobeyed, and Hagar laid with Abraham. That Abraham, Hagar had a child and named him Ishmael. So Ishmael was older than Isaac. So Sarah saw this and she became really jealous. And like, even though she asked for it, she beats the shit out of Hagar. They go. But anyway, like, so she leaves and the angel of the Lord comes down to Hagar and tells her, listen, weep not, because I will make your son descendants, what's the word? I think more than the sands, on a beach or something like that. But anyway, a lot. He will be a warring nation. He will be the thorns in the sides of his brothers in the neighboring countries throughout history. And then Sarah laid with Abraham, and they had Isaac. And Isaac is where he's the second born. So Isaac is where you have Abraham thought, or God told Abraham to kill Isaac, and he went to sacrifice him, and somebody came in and was like, God told me to tell you to stop. Yeah. God told me to do this. God told me to tell you to stop. Don't kill him. Okay. All right. Because you're dealing with old people here too.
Yeah.
You gotta realize that. So when they left, so like Isaac is where you get the 12 tribes of Israel. And then Ishmael, his older brother, which was technically the firstborn, is where Muslims come from. They descend from Ishmael. And that's there is not a more accurate prophecy than what that, angel of the Lord told Hagar about her son than Ishmael's descendants, because they fit every characteristic of what he said, of what the angel said that would be. But it's interesting. I mean, like, because like when you see stuff like that, does it check out now? And it does. Like, dude, the Muslim, like, they're good ones. Dude, I'm friends with a couple of them. They're very peaceful. They're good people. But there's some nasty ones out there.
What about them ones with the
About them ones with them bombs
with
and
the
stuff.
cars, the
But
cars
yeah.
and the bombs and the rags on their head?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
No, but anyway, I could talk. I
I
could talk about this
um,
forever.
I guess
Yeah.
like, and there's a question that a lot of people ask, and I don't know if it's relevant necessarily, but Moses. So I think I looked it up. I don't know if this is true, but apparently he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights twice. And walking in Jesus' footsteps, and one of the
Yeah.
times he did see the burning bush.
Yeah, I
wonder
knew
if-
that.
So I wonder if that is, they say that's a product of, I guess like DMT naturally being formed in your body, and that could happen whenever you're, are malnourished. That your body naturally, the word I don't know what word I'm looking for, makes DMT, but and then maybe that could have been him hallucinating.
Well, you had the burning bush, so they say that what if the burning bush was released, I heard on Joe Rogan podcast, and they named the plant. It could have been, and it could have released that dimethyltryptamine, whatever DMT.
Oh, okay.
And like,
If you believe this story is true, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of stories in the Bible that are like kind of, actually not kind of, they're very hard to believe.
yeah, like,
It seems like a lot of like Lord of the Rings shit to me.
yeah, that.
What's the shit with the guy getting swallowed by the whale?
Jonah?
Jonah in the well. Like
Yeah.
we like to pick and choose and create some kind of meaning out of these stories, but there's a lot of stories in there that are very, very unbelievable.
But see,
Daniel and the Lions Den.
there's
I mean, you
but
can,
like,
you can look up
there's-
the 10 craziest stories in the Bible, and you're like,
Shadrach, Meshach, and
you
Abednego
can't, like, this is not believable. Like, none of this shit's believable.
Meshach and Abednego. You've talked about this before.
is pretty unbelievable. Like that's the one that's just like,
Could you tell us that one again?
So
Just a quick rundown.
they refuse to believe in the or they refused to bow down to the king, and he threw them in the furnace, and they looked down, and it was 3 of them, and they looked down and they saw 4, and they weren't burning. And it was so hot that when they went to open the door to throw them in there, that the 2 men that opened the furnace burned alive. That's a tough one.
Do you guys ever believe there was a person on this
That's
earth
a tough one.
that ever parted the fucking seas?
I mean, if you're gonna believe that God is,
But no,
everything,
I'm asking you guys. I'm
And what-
Bible
well,
aside.
if we're
Do you
thinking-
believe there is a human being that walked the earth that could part the fucking seas?
Well, if we're thinking that there's a creator that's everything, sure that there's a creator that can give somebody the ability to do that.
What
But
if,
it only existed in that
See-
one
see-
like time period and never again.
like, let's pause. What are the ingredients needed for the Red Sea to part?
I don't know.
Like,
Physics.
A good writer, apparently.
no, like because I feel like to be respectful, you have to look at it like a scientist would. You gotta almost like innocent till you're proven guilty. Like you gotta
telekinesis.
prove it.
Not telekinesis. What's the word?
Yeah.
Telepathy.
But like, okay, let's say you could do that. What would be the ingredients needed for someone to have the ability
Magic.
to part the Red Sea? Like, what would that look like?
Gandalf.
If
Lord
it
of
is,
the Rings.
if it is real, what would it look
If it
like?
Ishmael.
Because what happened? They were running from, they were running for their life.
Yeah.
So
a high tense situation.
so
Desperation. Once again.
Desperation.
so they passed, and then whenever their pursuers were following them, as soon as everybody made it out, the Red Sea came in on them and drowned everybody. So I'm saying is I think we need to be respectful, and at least if you haven't given it an honest evaluation to look at it for any religion in any text.
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm not singling
This
them out.
conversation is making me want to read the Bible.
It's a great book. Like it's a damn good book. I'm telling you. Like
It's a good read.
I'm sure it's dry. Very dry.
it's everything. It's everything. It is boring as sin.
You know how many people prayed about people they loved and it didn't fucking matter? Kids with cancer. Kids in North Korea that just died. But yet we tend to try to find meaning in prayer when it doesn't fucking matter.
See, I disagree.
Really?
Sam Harris would disagree with you. You know who Sam Harris is?
I've heard the name.
I don't.
Sam Harris is an atheist.
Maybe there's some kind of like mental part that comes with praying that
You're
you
getting it.
unlock that.
What are the now you're on? What are
I get
the,
okay. Maybe there's something
what are
there,
the
but
ingredients?
prayer in itself hasn't saved anybody. I don't think a kid with cancer that you pray about and they die a month later, you just move on and then pray about the next thing.
But is death a bad thing?
I mean, people with religion who claim that when you die you go to heaven tend to not want to die and go to heaven.
Yeah, in that.
So they tend to think it's not a good thing.
Those are also the same people you think are full of shit. So
Oh, I mean, I agree, but I'm
Yeah,
just
so-
trying to enter their mindset.
But what if there were no end to this life?
I mean,
Like we
maybe
only
there's not.
have our perspective,
Yeah.
and then what if we go back in, after we die, and then we come back, but the ingredients are different because
I'm not doubting that prayer motivates people and creates better people. And I think that's kind of what you're trying to say, that
What-
like it kind of
praying to
makes you rise above and gives you hope and keeps you going. Like there is something to that, like some motivation and some
I have a
some
question for
hope.
you. Does God have feeling? Does God feel anything? If God is everything, then does God have feeling?
we have to base it off of our logic and what we can understand. And from my experience, the more you know, the more you feel.
So God feels everything.
But the more you know, the more control, like the more you have the ability to control those feelings. You know, like
God knows everything, so God can control whether he feels or doesn't.
no, feels it, but you don't see a temper tantrum.
Sure.
Because it's needed. Like, we view death as a bad thing because it's part of
Even Christians who claim you're going to the promised land
fear
death.
Dude, if you believed in heaven,
You should be thankful that you're dying.
yeah. Why do we pray? Like,
You should be celebrating the death of your person you love because they believed in God.
we were going
that they're passing on to go to heaven.
I want to go back to our great grandpa whenever he passed away. I'm pretty sure that his last words were, "Don't cry for me. I know where I'm going." So that is an example of a person that did believe that. I mean, they were fucking dead on it. You know?
And there's power in that, man. I know I'm very, very critical, and I'm probably to the point where a lot of people probably think I'm disrespectful, and I'm not here to argue with those people. They're probably right, but there's a lot of because I think that it does upset me that a lot of people don't question it. I think a lot of people, because we don't know. We truly don't know. The person who believes the most doesn't fucking know. They think they know. It gets them by on a day-to-day basis.
Well, what does that matter?
But show me fucking proof. Convince me. You can't. To me, it's just you just believe it because you've been taught to believe it, and you need it to kind of get by. Like I said, there's a lot of people who prayed about it and nothing fucking happened. But yet we continue to ask for prayers and pray about it. You know, maybe there is something to be said about praying about it and like the legitimate aspect of praying about it does get me by on a day-to-day basis. It motivates me. It brings these emotions out of me that creates this person who can overcome things. But at the end of the day, how many kids had cancer that you prayed about and nothing fucking happened?
Why is that a bad thing? That's what I'm saying. You're basing it on a bad thing. Yeah, it does. How we perceive it, it's not pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why? Like, what's wrong with cancer?
Suffering, children dying, starvation, rape, all those things that we pray don't exist are created from a world that, in their point of view, was created by God. God created these things.
I see what you're saying.
But like we view those things as bad because they're unpleasant for us.
That's fair.
But like, what makes them bad? Is it the level of I mean, like I'm human. So
physical harm is pretty fucking terrible.
Like, I can sympathize with cancer being.
It's just the two.
With an infant being born, with like a stillborn, like the mother giving birth to a baby she knows is dead, or.
I think it's the simple fact that we believe in a God that created that and that allows that. And a God who says, "Oh, kill your kids," but no, I'm just playing. A God that allows North Korea to happen where there's rats eating out of bodies in the subway stations.
But those cancers, I mean, let's just...
If he's so powerful...
Let's go with cancer.
Why don't you fucking save us like you claim that you're saving us?
The cancer...
If you're so powerful.
The cancer...
It's like a sick game to him.
Have the ingredients. They're just existing.
It's a life form in itself.
Existing.
I understand that.
Yeah, like it's just...
But doesn't that take away from religion itself? Doesn't that make it more of a more natural thing to me?
I think this kind of goes back to you saying
anything to religion
that humans only care about humans.
Yeah,
like you
there's
said,
something to be said about
cancer
that.
is a life form in itself.
Yeah, that's
Monkey,
a life form.
Like, dude, you've been to the zoo and you see a little like.
But show me.
I saw a video of a monkey. It was a little baby monkey, and they playing with his little
jerking off,
playing with his dingling, and like they were like all, and like the humans like, and I just thought I was like, huh. I thought about that.
Wish that was me.
But can you show me in
No,
the Bible where
People
God
saying,
is supporting the life form of cancer?
that in a
You
human?
can't.
and it like everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's ghastly.
I get
But it's
that
the same
emotions and
Same
culture and
I see exactly where you're coming from, right?
all these things, our perception of life is definitely our perception of life. I understand that.
Yeah.
But show me in the Bible where God is supporting the life form of cancer. It's not there unless you know more. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of death and despair and a lot of prayer and a lot of evil that goes on, that if our God is that powerful, if God does exist, we're supporting a God that is very fucking evil, that allows us, if he's this powerful as we claim him to be, what kind of fucking sick game is this?
You can't say that.
Why not? I mean, because that's the reality of it. It's what is going on, I feel like.
Okay, pause.
Okay.
Pause.
Okay.
You're in second grade. You see Heather for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Describe that feeling.
It's definitely an attraction, a feeling of I want to be around this person every day.
All right.
It's a feeling of
You had to tell your sister about it. So
For sure.
It was a big deal.
for sure,
And like she had to think enough of it to write a letter for you.
for sure.
Like, what is that? You know, like,
And that's why I'm saying we need to question it. That's why I'm saying, like, but that doesn't explain the death and despair.
all I'm
That is
saying
being allowed.
There's a bigger picture. Like it's bigger than humans.
But Christians love to say that God is this
But you're
ultimate
going back to
power who
this
created all this thing
religion.
and is paying attention in all these details of you can pray, and prayer is going to take you to this point of God's going to take care of it. God's going to take care of it. God's not going to fucking cure the cancer. God's not paying them fucking bills, man. You got to take care of them fucking kids. You know what I'm saying? That's the reality of the shit. God ain't doing shit for you, man. No matter how much you pray. Cancer's going to fucking kill you, and then bills are coming on Friday.
And bills are definitely coming on Friday.
And I find it bizarre that we pick and choose what we believe from the Bible and what we glorify with God, because we pick and choose. I mean, you can pull up any bizarre, pull up the Old Testament. That's the true roots of Christianity, is the original Testament. That's the only thing we have. That's the closest thing to the, speaking for Christians, that's the closest thing for it being legit that we have, is the Old Testament.
Why does cancer exist?
I don't know. I'm not a scientist, you know?
So like I've already explained my theory of like why everything exists.
Right.
The ingredients are there. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
But to the person who doesn't have that mind, they have to find acceptance. And maybe it is religion. Maybe
Religion gets a lot of people by, man. Creates a lot of law and order.
maybe praying at night.
It helps a lot of people. I'm not saying
Just
it doesn't
helps
help. I'm not saying it doesn't help. I'm just saying it doesn't cure shit. And that praying about it isn't going to fix the problem.
But like
you have to fix the
like
problem.
you said though,
or a doctor
like
has
you
to fix the
said,
problem.
at the end of the day, you know, the bills are due on Friday. Some people need that motivation or discipline or whatever it is.
There's a lot of good that comes from religion.
And praying,
man.
you know, probably does give them that.
There's a lot of good. As much as I shit on it, there's a lot of good. You can live an amazing life living off the Bible, and so can your kids.
But you can also You can also live an amazing life dedicating yourself to any philosophical work.
Absolutely.
With any
Absolutely.
bit of
Yep.
of
Absolutely.
sound doctrine. Like if you base your life off meditations, anything, like your meditation, Marcus Aurelius, like anything. But like most of the people, most people don't read, and they just pass down, and they don't even read any philosophical works. So this is the only thing they read. So like, yeah, your life gets better.
I'm not saying you shouldn't believe, because I question it myself.
It really sounds like you're saying that you shouldn't believe.
I know I'm harsh on it, and I'm very critical. I understand that, and if you want to bash me for that, that's fine. But I grew up praying at night, every night before I went to bed. There were times where I came in fucked up.
There it is.
There were times where I came in fucked up in my early 20s, praying before I went to bed. Didn't change shit.
Maybe.
Well, what were you praying?
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to. It's been a long
I'd
time.
have to go back
I'm
in
very
time.
far removed from that.
Let me get back in time.
Yeah, I'm very far removed from that. But I think that it does. There are. If I'm going to make it, to not shit on it for a little bit. If I can make an argument for it, it gets people by. It creates law and order. It creates a sense of belonging, a moral compass. It creates what we should and shouldn't do. And you can, and if you teach your kids the Bible, a lot of good can come from it. But a lot of hate and, it's funny how humans, like I said, we pick and choose what we want from it. And it's weird that we pick the fact that we hate the fact that certain people are attracted to certain other sexes. We demonize those people. We cast those people off. I
feel like a lot of times you refer to Christians as the worst case Christians.
But they exist.
Well,
and
they
it's
do.
the vast
They
majority.
do.
Because I've hung out with a vast majority of those people, and I think that we all can attest to that. And I've credited those.
Or even religious people in general, like not even just Christianity, but I feel like when you refer to religion, you refer to the worst people, like the dumbest people, or the people that are like easily manipulated, or the people that.
And that's fair.
Like you said.
But I've also
they're
said
fake as fuck, and they go out there and
because
they live two different lives.
have you ever went to a church and that's what drove you out of religion? Those people in those churches who
No, it's not.
It's definitely had played a part.
There were a lot of ingredients, but yeah,
It's definitely played a part.
it was one of. It's definitely one of
The people in those churches, man, are so judgmental and so arrogant and so like money oriented and trying to convince other people of a person that they're not.
Keep talking. I gotta piss.
And I've said, I wish everyone was like Anne Margaret. The world would be a better place. But the sad part is that's not true.
So, because like you're responding, like when you pray, you're talking to something.
I'm talking to God.
Yeah.
When I'm praying, because I believe in God, I'm talking to God.
So for years I prayed, give me the mind to know you, the eyes to see you, the heart to love you.
Mine was
and bless me in every area of my life, so that I may better serve you. And like every day I prayed that for like in my 20s, just about from probably every day, probably like 7. I mean, that was like maybe a year gap, but like, that was my like. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say this, and like, what if that prayer was answered? What if I did get the
what about
ability
the other prayers, man?
to understand?
And I understand what you're saying.
Like,
when I make my argument of, kids dying from cancer, but what about like rape and molestation? And I understand what you're saying. It's like our perception of that is bad. That might not be God's perception of that. But God has to know how we feel. God has to know that molesting a kid at the age of 5 is going to traumatize and change the entire course of their life and affect generations of their family, because we all know that it takes to break a cycle of generations is tough. I don't know what the statistics are. I'm sure anybody can pull them up. But like, if both your parents are crackheads, you're probably going to be a crackhead. Yeah, you can break that cycle. Pressure does create diamonds, but
that's a big deal that you're just kind of like brushing to the side.
What do you mean?
Like, pressure does create diamonds.
It does. My dad is the picture perfect of that example.
How do you create something that, like the kids with the silver spoon in their mouth, they grow up losers. They grow up bums.
They do.
But like the ones who had it hard, not all of them, like when everything clicks, that pain that they went through when they were a kid plays a huge part
Of who they are.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate side of that, and I'm a statistic person, is that, and you can probably look it up, is that that's the I think there's a microscopic percentage of people who can come out of that. Most people, it's a rough life. I think it's a rough life. Because we're all followers. That's why religion is so big. I think. And I'm not saying you shouldn't believe, because even me, myself, to this day, I question it. There's times where I wake up and I'm like, maybe I should pray. Maybe I should go, not necessarily go to church, because I really don't believe in church because of the people there. And I think that those people are terrible people, because they push away. Those people put such a negative connotation on religion, and those are just bad people. If people really just lived by the Bible, like I said, like people being like and Margaret, I really wish everyone was like that.
Well, I want to go back to I'm back, by the way. I want to go back to you saying, in the Bible it also says to not necessarily hate gay people, but
we pick and choose.
Men shouldn't. Well, like you said, if they live by the Bible, that would be technically living by the Bible.
It would be. But also premarital sex would be living by the Bible, but all these Christians don't do that. They all like to fuck.
Right. But is that a good thing or a bad thing?
But like, we're animals. Like,
according to God, it's a bad thing.
We're animals. Like,
I'm asking you.
I'm saying, yeah, according to God, it's a bad thing.
I'm asking you, is it a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing, no. I think you should have sex with somebody before you move in and live with them. That's what I think. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think it's actually a bad thing that you live by that, because I think that you're going to get yourself in a very bad situation if you don't know someone sexually when you move into a.
So there's a few things that living by the Bible would not be good for.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of good things.
So picking and choosing is probably the right thing to do.
But are we going to be legit about it, or are we not? Are we going to follow God's word, or are we not? Don't be this half-assed Christian and pick and choose based off of how you want to live your life. Because I think a lot of Christians do that. Not all.
Well,
like you said earlier.
Well, maybe, and I want to take up for Christians here, or maybe not necessarily Christians, but people that say they're Christians because they don't know where they fit in as a category. There's a lot of people that read the Bible and they say that they're Christians, but maybe they're not necessarily Christians, but they don't know where else they fit in as.
Absolutely.
And so they
do
a
follower.
And so they do pick and choose from the Bible, but maybe they're not actually Christians. And they think they are. They believe in a God, and they believe in a lot of the main principles, but then again, they are having premarital sex. Like you said, you believe in a lot of the things that...
And a lot of people argue
like you just said, you believe in there's a lot of good things in the Bible. And you probably do try to follow some of the principles that are in the Bible. You don't maybe you don't follow them because they're in the Bible.
Right.
You follow them because they're good principles.
Yeah, they're just good morals, yeah.
But then you also think that premarital sex is a good thing. You're not you don't care if two men have sex with each other. That's none of your business, right?
Yeah, I don't mind.
In your mind, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, and you believe in a creator. So
maybe
there's people that believe the exact same thing as you, but they consider themselves Christians because they don't know where they fit in.
And that's kind of what creates like the subgenres of Christianity, right? Like Mormonism versus Calvinist versus and all of them shit on each other.
And this is the first time I've ever had this thought, by the way. It's just like,
go for it, yeah.
Hit me right now. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like that's a lot of people that are out there and we consider them fake Christians. Maybe they are fake Christians, but they don't know where they fit in. And that's a lot of gray area for sure. But I don't think I find myself wanting to learn and educate myself a lot more about religion. Not necessarily Christianity. Maybe I would start with Christianity, but I don't know. I do feel myself gravitating towards religion a little bit as the older I get. But definitely not Christianity as Christianity is. But I see how a person could be very confused as to what they believe.
For sure. And I was telling Brent when you were in the bathroom, as harsh as I am on Christianity and religion, I'm not saying I don't believe. I'm not saying it's... Well, I actually am saying I don't believe, but I'm not saying that it doesn't exist.
Okay.
I'm saying that I just think that more people should question it because we just truly don't know. And I think a lot of people just follow it because they've been told to follow it. There's been times where even to this day, I could wake up tomorrow and go, man, I could feel the need to pray again. Because sometimes that does hit me. Very rarely, but I do every now and then feel the need to pray. Because there was a point in my life, even up until my 22 maybe, where I would pray every night, and it was very similar to like your prayer, like just give me the wisdom to know, what was this? What's the common saying of, grant me the control the things I can, control the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
Very common prayer.
The AA prayer.
The AA prayer, yeah. And not to knock that, I think there's a lot of positivity that can come out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
But like you said, like with the indoctrination, I guess that's the word I would use for that. I don't think that necessarily people are believing what they're told to believe. I think people are going to gravitate towards something regardless. I think if you grew up and you were never told anything,
because they're followers.
I believe if you grew up and you were never told anything about any religion, you would still wonder where we come from.
For sure.
And you would naturally
absolutely.
develop your own beliefs, which would probably be similar to what's in the Bible.
Wanting to know if there's a creator or not. Yeah,
exactly.
Like just thinking.
There's obviously a creator. We're here.
Yeah, there's some people who think
here.
that it is. It kind of happened naturally, the Big Bang. I don't necessarily believe in that.
What caused the Big Bang though? Something happened. Regardless,
that's my
we're
argument
here.
too. Yeah, that's my argument too.
Somehow we are here, and everybody has questions.
I just think that if you're gonna follow it, follow the fucking roots of it, because the roots of it, the King James version, which is fucking bizarre when you really look into it. I'm sure Brent, you can really go way into it more than I can. But we want to believe, but on our terms, and a lot of people like to dress that up as, oh, that's just us, that's just sin. God died, or Jesus died on the cross for our sins, and we can kind of do that. And there's statistics out there that can support any fucking thing you want to believe.
What were you about to say?
No, I was just saying, like, I would need my theory is grown as I've grown the past several years, but the more I learn about any particular topic, it just proves it even more and more. Like I feel more peace, and like it's like, dude, how does everybody not see this? But like somebody, if I dedicated myself to like material science and like really studied, like all in, like somebody who's a material scientist, using my kind of how I view God, and in the ingredients, like they could really see the characteristics of, maybe certain matter behaves differently when it's apart from, when it's isolated, or I don't know. Like I'm really talking about an area of conversation or a topic that I have not a lot of knowledge on, but like what, like maybe they would know of some behaviors or characteristics of a material that would create the atmosphere that a Big Bang could happen, but we're really talking out of our ass here.
Absolutely.
We don't know.
But I think that's the process that everybody needs to come across across the board.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're kind of all talking out of our ass when we talk about a higher power.
Yeah.
But a lot of Christians, they want to take it as fact, and they don't want to take it as like, like they don't question it at all.
And
they get uncomfortable when you try to have this conversation.
Yeah, and they want to like kind of shit on you and attack you, and I'm like, I mean, you mean to tell me you don't sit there at night and like wonder a little bit?
Not everybody thinks like y'all though. Like not everybody's open.
I know.
It wasn't until
I
no longer had a vested interest in my beliefs that I could question them.
Yeah.
When I wasn't getting paid for believing a certain way, I started, and then I became an adult. So I was getting paid as an adolescent, like with a young mind, So anytime I had a thought, I had to like shove it down. So like for a lot of people, it was like, dude, this came out of nowhere. Like, you have no idea what I've been, like what questions I've been pushing down that's been coming to my head, because I couldn't go to my pastor and be like, dude, what?
Because he's going to judge you.
Yeah.
He's going to judge you.
Yeah. And like, but one thing,
probably lose your
and
job.
we don't like the feeling of being judged, and it's going to affect you. Yeah.
So like, the moment I no longer had a vested interest in my beliefs, I could deconstruct my faith, everything I was taught,
non-biased.
I unlearned everything that I tried to the best of my ability, and looked up and like picked up everything that I was taught and believed, and just analyzed it.
And I remember you telling me,
And
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
yeah,
I remember you telling me, if I'm going to live by the Bible, I need to be all in, and I didn't feel like I was all in. And I think that's an honest approach that I feel, and I think it's a human approach.
And you're an all-in kind of guy, anyway.
I am for sure. I mean, if you're gonna follow the Bible, then follow the Bible. Don't like pick and choose. And all Christians do it. I mean, all is I mean, it's not 100%. Okay, we'll go like 90% or 80% or 70%.
In my mind, if you're going to refer to yourself as a Christian, sure, you should do that. But I
Right.
don't think that picking and choosing from the Bible is a bad thing.
It's not a bad
Just
thing.
like picking and choosing from any form of literature.
It's not a bad thing. There's a lot of good, and like I said, the moral compass.
Like
that
if
you can
listen,
learn from the
if you
Bible
listen to David Goggins' book
for sure.
and think you should listen to it and live by it 100%, that would be crazy.
But if you truly believe,
But
You
at the
get
end-
it though. You get it. Though.
And at the end of the day, the Bible is a book.
but don't tell me you believe in the parting of the fucking seas, and you don't believe in like two men having sex, but yet you believe in a man and a woman having sex
Well,
because
that's
that's
in
a
the Bible.
desire
Yeah,
you have.
That's true.
Like
very
that's
true.
that's controversial, man. And when you bring that up, people get mad at you. They deflect,
Yeah,
and they don't want to talk
They-
about
they'll
it.
change the subject.
They'll
for
change
sure.
the subject. You know, and there's something about eating a particular kind of food in there, like pork or something, or is that more of like Catholics that believe in you couldn't eat like shrimp or something? Like, there's a lot of like
They
bizarre.
just had the gout.
Well, apparently shrimp was hard to come by, and like the higher people higher
Those
up were
poor.
just like, that's for us, not for y'all. So they created like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's just like all kinds of shit that really contradicts each other. And I don't know. I'm not saying that you shouldn't believe. I'm not saying you shouldn't raise your kids that way. I like to believe that, but
I'm gonna be honest with y'all, fellas. It's midnight. I'm ready to go home.
damn, it's midnight.
Yeah, it's 11:50.
Yeah, I want to go on record, and I think indoctrination is child abuse.
I agree with that.
I think technically you can say that, but I think you can if you apply that
Do you agree
mentality.
with that?
To a level, but I think if you're going to be that technical about certain things, I think there's a lot of leftists that have different ideologies not pertaining to religion.
Political.
Right
Right wing too.
right wing too. That you can kind of get technical on some things.
Are we
that,
talking about? We can talk about any belief
that
ever.
are
Yeah.
right that are a little
That's politics.
a little
It's not
goofy.
just
Like
religion.
is feeding your kid too much child abuse. Like if you have an obese kid, that can be considered child abuse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can really go, and that's
Yeah,
just like
I
a
changed my
simple.
mind. I don't agree anymore. He convinced me.
But doing nothing to your child, teaching them nothing, is also child abuse.
I'm not
Well-
against it.
Welcome to parenting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's tough. Life's tough. And I'm not saying that God doesn't exist. I believe in a higher power, but do I believe in blue-eyed,
Well, no,
blonde
you
hair,
don't. I
white
mean-
Jesus from the Middle East that
No.
has never came out of the Middle East,
I-
especially in that
I
time?
feel like
I don't.
you shit on
I do. You're right.
Christianity,
do.
but you rope it in as religion. I think you do have a lot of beliefs that tie into religion, but not Christianity. Or
There's-
I guess some of them tie
there's
into
definitely,
Christianity. But you shit on Christianity because of who a lot of Christian people are and how the
For sure.
church is.
I agree with that.
Is
Maybe-
God real?
I think
fun.
so. Yeah, yeah, God's real.
You said what?
I think God is real.
I believe in a higher power.
You don't want to call it God because it's Christian.
I mean, no, you can call it God.
Yeah.
But
I
do I
think God
believe
is
in
real.
Christianity? And
That's all I said.
Whenever I say yes, I say God is real. I don't think a Christian God is. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily believe in a Christian God, but God is real.
I believe in that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good.
What's the
It comes
what's the
from
title
religion.
of this podcast going to be? Episode 80 with the Crabman, God and Time. Jesus Christ, that's tough, huh? We'll figure.
I
I'll
know
figure it out.
I've
I'm gonna
been-
listen back to it.
I know I've been very. I'm sure there's probably some people that I love.
Good title.
There's probably some people that I love that are listening to me.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they don't
and
listen to this one,
and
I'll be
really
honest.
hating what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're
And
gonna
probably
judge you.
are
They're
going to
judge you
change,
hard.
and that's fine.
I mean,
you can
But
judge me how
I
you
just
want.
hope they don't listen to it because
Like,
it's not going to really
I'm
change.
gonna
who you are
love
as a
you the
person.
same, man.
I will say,
I'm not going to judge you for judging me.
if anybody has any questions, and like, I get it. I'm crazy. But if I'm telling you, send me a message. You know, like I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this
Yeah.
podcast a lot. I mean, I enjoyed every time you're on here.
Maybe
I enjoy every podcast I've ever done here in this room. So.
Maybe I'll die in fucking rotten hell.
I think that's
But
human.
you know what?
You won't rot.
Dude,
You'll be there for eternity.
Hell's a human ingredient. It's
My friends
Like,
gonna be
Is
there
hell
too.
even is hell even bad?
like it's got too much like bad things. Like bad people need bad places.
I'd rather laugh with the sinners than cry with the saints.
We
baby.
created the penitentiary. We created jail. We created a jail for bad people. So
We
like
created hell.
in our mind,
You ever heard of Hell in a
we
Cell?
have to.
Oh yeah, shout out.
I got some walls of Jericho for you. Stop and drop by the walls of Jericho, baby.
Golly. But like, yeah, we have to have a punishment for bad people because in our mind, like bad people can't go through this life, and not get punished. So they there needs to be a place for that.
But are we just looking for reasons to punish those people, for our own satisfaction?
Well, I mean, I think
Absolutely,
even
like it feels good.
That's so good.
I mean, even let's talk about the guy in Charleston Sports Club that night. You felt like you wanted to punish him
Oh man,
just for butting into our good time.
yeah.
Burning hell feels.
You wanted to
good
beat. You wanted to fucking beat the
person
shit
you
out
don't
of him.
like.
Oh yeah, I did.
Did he deserve that for being a bad person, or was he even a bad person?
I don't know if he's a bad person, but he made a bad decision that night. Like
Yeah,
you probably shouldn't stick your nose where it don't
I was the
belong.
voice of reason, Brent. Does that surprise you?
Nice. Yeah, it
That
does.
felt good. It's not. It's just rare.
It does.
I'm like, kick his ass.
Nah, man. Usually,
Sorry,
I mean,
guys.
you guys
Sorry
know
about
me.
your
I'm pretty laid back, soft spoken guy. So
Hey,
if you get me there, it's probably deserved.
But if I die, if I die and I meet my Creator, and I was wrong, I tried.
I tried. I thought for myself.
I
I was my own
genuinely
fucking
tried.
human being.
I thought this was a good way to end it, boys.
It
Yep.
is.
It's been a good podcast. Empty beer.
Shout out to the Christians who believe and truly try their best to live through that
Yep.
moral compass.
As long as
I
you
respect
try.
you. I
As
really
long as
respect you because you're
try.
trying just like I am.
That's
And
right.
like I said, there are times where I wake up, even to this day, and think, maybe I should pray. I'm not saying
You
it's wrong.
should.
Have you seen the video of that kid?
Should if I don't believe
Did you
though?
pray today?
I ain't seen that.
I'll show you. Hold on. I'll find it.
Should you work out if you don't feel like it?
For your physical health, yeah.
So maybe you should pray for your mental health.
There's other ways you can address mental health.
Okay.
But
Dude, I said
It's been a good podcast, boys.
no. I honestly, people who are living through Christianity the right way, I respect you.
It's been a good podcast, guys.
All right.
Thank y'all for listening.
It's been fun.
3 hours and 8 minutes. See y'all.